Chapter 672. There was dead silence around the boat of creation. The air seemed to have frozen. Many cultivators were still in a daze and had yet to come back to their senses. That was because everything had happened too quickly and too suddenly. It was completely unexpected. First, the 10 princes of Jinwu had arrived in a domineering manner. His aura had covered heaven and earth, as if the sun god had come out of seclusion. However, in the next moment, he had been trampled by someone and lost all his power. The contrast between before and after was too great, causing everyone to be dumbfounded. The 10 princes of Jinwu didn't even have a chance to say anything before he was gone. That was simply tragic. The 10 princes of Jinwu's reputation had been ruined. Young master is here. Lord Son of God, Xiao Bingyun, Yin Rumeng, Tying Jade Hair, and the others all exclaimed in surprise. The third prince and the others were extremely shocked when they saw that. They knew that the figure was only one of the 10 princes of Jinwu's Dharma bodies. It was a Dharma body that he had refined for a long time and had half of his strength. It could be said that even the top prodigies of the Forbidden Realms wouldn't be able to defeat the 10 princes of Jinwu's Dharma body in a short period of time. However, it had been destroyed by Jun Xiaoyao in a domineering manner. That wasn't a battle, but a blatant contempt. It was as if he was casually trampling an ant to death. He's Jun Xiaoyao. Yuan Kandaozi couldn't help but tremble. He actually felt lucky. Fortunately, he didn't make a mistake by intervening. Otherwise, the current situation would be troublesome. The other Golden Crow princes, Shengyu Yi, Shengzhou Yi, and the others also stopped fighting and fell into deep shock. The 10 princes of Jinwu's aura was already strong enough and had an extremely oppressive feeling. However, compared to the white-robed figure, it was like a small child in the presence of a great sorcerer. Their auras were on a completely different level. If it was said that the 10 princes of Jinwu gave people the feeling that they were overbearing emperors who dominated the world, then the 10 princes of Jinwu were the 10 princes of Jinwu. The feeling Jun Xiaoyao gave others was that he was a white-clothed, immortal king that had transcended the mortal world, stood above all living beings, and stood towering in the clouds of the 9 heavens. The two were not on the same level at all. Just as Jun Xiaoyao destroyed the 10 princes of Jinwu's Dharmakaya with a single stomp. In the depths of the ancient final road, there was a scarlet star that resembled the sun. A treasure wheel that looked like a golden wheel floated in the air, emitting the aura of a boundary monarch weapon. Beneath the treasured wheel was the figure of a young king, who was wrapped in a divine sun. At a certain moment, he seemed to have sensed something and suddenly let out a long howl. The sea of fire collapsed, and the sun's saint force exploded. Jun Xiaoyao, how dare you destroy my Dharma body and ruin my plans? When I completely refine this quasi-emperor weapon, it will be your death. His voice reverberated in all directions, causing the entire scarlet ancient star to tremble. Countless large stars in the surrounding universe were shattered by the sound waves. It was obvious that this person's anger was surging. On the boat of destiny, Jun Xiaoyao stood above the universe with his hands behind his back. His white robe fluttered in the wind, and his immortal chi was overflowing. His gaze first fell on the boat of destiny. He did not care about the other Golden Crow princes, the saints of the sacred sect, and the others. He completely ignored them. However, the Golden Crow prince and the others stopped what they were doing. Cold sweat seeped out of their foreheads, and their nerves were extremely tense. This scene was extremely shocking to the surrounding sky prides. Is this the might of the Jun family son of God? Even if he doesn't say a word, the Golden Crow third prince and the others would not dare to act rashly. Some of the top outlawed sky prides had their own dignity and aura. Even if they just stood there and did not say a word, it was enough to make the other sky prides keep quiet and not dare to act rashly. Is this the boat of destiny? Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. He had learned about it before. This boat of destiny was built by an ancient almighty of the supreme, Xianting. It was an imitation of the World Crossing Arkansas. As for the World Crossing Ark, it was a legend in myths. When the universe was destroyed and ushered in the great tribulation of the era, the world-crossing ark would appear and carry a small number of living beings to escape the calamity of destruction. This reminded Jun Xiaoyao of Noah's Ark in Western legends. He also remembered that the mythical Empress Mi Fei had also mentioned the origin and secrets of the Great Tribulation of the era. Of course, these were not things that Jun Xiaoyao should be thinking about right now. He believed that if such a day really came, his strength would have reached an unimaginable level by then, and he would be able to face everything calmly. The boat of destiny in front of him could not be compared to the world-crossing ark in the myths. However, it was still built by an ancient almighty of the supreme Xianting. Naturally, its level would not be low. Jun Xiaoyao could feel that there was a dense amount of world energy inside the boat of destiny. Jun Xiaoyao slowly retracted his gaze. Only then did his gaze fall on the Golden Crow Prince, the saints of the sacred sect, and the others. Sensing Jun Xiaoyao's gaze, their hearts skipped a beat. Jun Xiaoyao did not bother to waste any more time. He casually struck out with his palm. The 5 Golden Crow Princes and the 2 saints of the sacred sect resisted with all their might. However, they all spat out blood with a snort. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. The 7 outlawed Sky Prides combined were injured by Jun Xiaoyao's casual attack. After the attack, Jun Xiaoyao said to Yu Go, "Your enemy is right in front of you. Collect some interest first." Yu's body trembled when he heard this. His eyes were filled with gratitude. He knew that Jun Xiaoyao wanted him to personally take revenge and eliminate his inner demons. Otherwise, with Jun Xiaoyao's strength, if he were to seriously attack, how could those people survive? Kill. Yu's voice was filled with murderous intent. His eyes were filled with shocking anger and hatred. After the destruction of the Yi clan, he was exiled from the Xiantian mystic realm to the Huangtian mystic realm. If he had not met Jun Xiaoyao, he might not have the chance to take revenge in his entire life. Yu Changwan also attacked with reddened eyes. She needed to release the pent-up emotions in her heart. Yan Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, and the others also assisted in their attacks. A great battle broke out again. However, this time, the Sun God Mountain and the Gulen sect were at an absolute disadvantage. Jun Xiaoyao's casual attack had already injured them. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao glanced at Yuan Kandaozi. Yuan Kandaozi felt a chill run down his spine as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He instinctively took a few steps back, not daring to meet Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. Jun Xiaoyao looked away and ignored him. The outcome of this battle was already decided. As long as Jun Xiaoyao was around, the Golden Crow Prince and the Saints would not be able to escape. "Are you really going to kill us all? The Sun God Mountain will not let this go." The Golden Crow Third Prince screamed in despair. No one expected the situation to take such a turn. Jun Xiaoyao alone was enough to make all of them unable to raise their heads. Now, they were in a life-and-death crisis. Don't you think it's ridiculous to say this now? Yu's eyes were cold and the flames of revenge burned. He pulled the Star Destroyer bow and shot out the 9 stars alignment. Splat! Blood splattered across the sky and dyed the starry sky red. The Golden Crow Third Prince was dead. The other 4 princes and the 2 saints of the Saint sect could not escape the fate of death. Everyone who saw this scene felt their hearts skip a beat. One had to know that one side was from the Sun God Mountain and the other was from the Gulen sect. They were forces that could not be provoked. However, Jun Xiaoyao did not have any scruples. There was not even a trace of emotion in his eyes. It was no different from killing cats and dogs. In other words, in his eyes, even the saints of the Archean royalty were just ants that he could kill with a wave of his hand. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version website, /book/5975/. Chapter 673. Yu and the others were extremely decisive in their attacks, not showing any mercy at all. That was because he knew that Jun Xiaoyao was behind him, backing him up. How lucky was he to be able to follow such a master? Not long after, the 5 crown princes of the Sun God Mountain, the Golden Crow Celestial Guards, and the 2 saints of the Gulen sect were all dead. They were already severely injured by Jun Xiaoyao's palm strike. Moreover, Yu and the others were not weak either. They stood no chance at all. As for running away, with Jun Xiaoyao around, even the 10 princes of Jinwu would not be able to escape, let alone them. Blood mist filled the starry sky. 7 outlawed sky prides had fallen at the same time. It was enough to shock everyone. Meanwhile, Jun Xiaoyao was still standing there calmly. His eyes were as calm as a pool of clear water. Many female cultivators at the scene were mesmerized by his grace and bearing. He was covered in blood. It was not his blood, but the blood of the Golden Crow clan's crown prince. At this moment, Yu felt that his thoughts were more than half clear. He roared into the sky, and the Yishun bloodline in his body began to boil as if it was burning. Boundless light shone in all directions. His aura had broken through to the level of a perfected martial sage. This was extremely shocking. After all, even Jun Xiaoyao was only a perfected martial sage. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao had deliberately suppressed his breakthrough. This was because once he broke through, he would instantly surpass a large group of outlawed sky prides. To EU, his greatest gain was not the breakthrough in his cultivation level. A terrifying shadow vaguely appeared behind him. It was like a god, standing between the stars and shooting the sun with a bow. What's going on? What a terrifying aura. What's that? Is that a god from myths and legends? Many people sucked in a breath of cold air from all directions. This phenomenon was extremely shocking. Jun Xiaoyao nodded in satisfaction when he saw this, as expected of his chosen follower. Because of this, EU's Yishun bloodline was instantly recovered by a big half. That astonishing sun-shooting phenomenon should be related to the origin of the Yi clan's bloodline, the mythical D Yishun. After a period of awakening, EU's eyes were like the sun in the sky. The blood and qi in his body were like divine flames, and his essence qi rushed into the galaxy. At this moment, he was not just an outlaw-level sky pride. Furthermore, among the taboos, it should be considered a very strong one. It could be said that on the final ancient road, EU is already standing in the upper echelons. Apart from the supreme, outlawed sky prides in the depths of the ancient road who had yet to reveal their true forms, there were not many who could overpower him. EU came in front of Jun Xiaoyao, clasped his hands together, and knelt down heavily. This scene caused everyone in the surroundings to fall silent, their eyes filled with disbelief. After all, every outlawed sky pride was proud and unyielding. Not to mention kneeling, it was impossible for him to even lower his head. However, now, Yu was kneeling in front of Jun Xiaoyao, his heart filled with gratitude. "What are you doing? Get up." Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. "Without you, young master, EU would not be here today. When EU has my revenge, I'll let the remaining E clan members pledge allegiance to you and praise your true name." Although the E clan was a declining ancient emperor clan that was conquered by the Sun God Mountain, nevertheless, there was still a small number of them who survived. That was also a force to be reckoned with. It's good that you have the heart. Jun Xiaoyao helped you up. EU's loyalty was unshakable. Beside him, Yu Chanwan also stepped forward, her beautiful eyes filled with gratitude. She did not expect that the master EU mentioned was the same person who came to save her according to the Tying Jade Hair. What was even more unexpected was that this person was the son of God of the Jun clan, who caused a sensation in the ancient road of ultimate destination and suppressed countless sky prides. She finally understood why EU had said that it wouldn't take much effort for his master to destroy the Sun God Mountain, because that was indeed the truth. Previously, she wondered if EU's master could not even defeat the 10 princes of Jinwu. Now that she thought about it, Yu Chanwan felt that her thoughts were naive and laughable. "Chanwan thanks young Master Jun. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid that I would be in danger today." Yu Chanwan bowed. Her impressive curves suddenly became more prominent. Many male sky prides around her had a burning passion in their eyes. The sacred Taiyin constitution was the world's #1 cauldron. Not to mention, Yu Chanwan was so beautiful. She had an elegant and refined face, an impressive figure, and a strong and unyielding personality. If they could conquer such a woman, it would definitely satisfy their desire to conquer. At this moment, this top-grade furnace that everyone coveted was kneeling in front of Jun Xiaoyao. Many Sky Pride sighed secretly when they saw this. They thought that such a top-grade furnace was going to fall into Jun Xiaoyao's hands. If they were in Yu Chanjuan's shoes, they would also consider using their bodies to win over the son of God of the Jun clan, and then take revenge for the Moon God Palace. After all, it was impossible for Yu Chanwan to take revenge on the Sun God Mountain by herself. You are the holy maiden of the Moon God Palace? Seeing is believing, Jun Xiaoyao said with a faint look in his eyes. Yu Chanjuan's pretty face blushed slightly. She was a little embarrassed. She knew that her reputation, to a large extent, depended on her body. For a woman, this was not a glorious reputation. Yu Chanwan raised her eyelids slightly, only to find that Jun Xiaoyao's deep eyes were very pure. There was no meaning in them. She was used to men looking at her with fiery eyes. Seeing such a calm gaze, she was a little uncomfortable. Miss, the young master is very nice. He was also the one who saved little Yu. Tying Jade Hair bounced over and giggled. It is our good fortune to be able to meet the young master. Yu Chanwan smiled gratefully. However, strictly speaking, they were both saved by Jun Xiaoyao. How could she repay such a great kindness? Yu Chanjuan's heart was in a dilemma. Jun Xiaoyao only glanced at Yu Chanwan before looking away. Although the woman in front of him was a top-grade furnace, Jun Xiaoyao did not need to use the sacred body of Taiyin to cultivate it all. Although this seductive body was enough to make a man ascend to the clouds, Jun Xiaoyao was not so low as to lower himself to that extent. Of course, he still wanted to benefit from Yu Chanwan, but that could wait. At that moment, the boat of destiny, which had been silent all this while, suddenly began to tremble. On the dark surface, lines began to light up one after another. It was as if the stars in the sky had lit up and were imprinted on the boat of destiny. The entrance of the boat of destiny is about to open, a prodigy exclaimed. On the boat of destiny's body, an ancient teleportation array was activated, which could teleport people into the boat of destiny. The boat of destiny did not really have the structure of a boat. Inside it was a complete small world. Let's go in. Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand and said. The rest of the people also nodded, their eyes filled with excitement. Following Jun Xiaoyao, they would definitely be able to eat a lot of meat. The best opportunities in the boat of destiny would belong to them. Just as Jun Xiaoyao approached the teleportation array of the boat of destiny, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. What's wrong? Yin Rumming asked. Nothing, Jun Xiaoyao said, the corners of his mouth curling into an undetectable smile. Just as almost all the prodigies around the boat of destiny had entered the boat of destiny. Somewhere in the depths of the starry sky, there was a divine consciousness transmission. What's going on? Did he find out something? I don't think so. This time we spent so much money to give this gift. I hope that Jun Xiaoyao can accept it. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /books/5975/. Chapter 674. As the space shifted, the place began to spin. The geniuses that entered the boat of fortune found themselves in a new place within the blink of an eye. They could see mountains, rivers, oceans, suns, moons, and even rivers. There were lofty mountains, winding rivers, and towering trees. The place was filled with a strong presence of qi. Even the most ordinary grass had grown to a height of a few hundred meters. It was like a dense forest. So this is the world inside the boat of fortune. Yin Rumeng, Xia Bingyin, Yu Chanwan, and the others glanced around and took a deep breath. To saints like them, the ability to create a world out of thin air was utterly unbelievable. However, it was not as magical in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. The reason being that Jun Xiaoyao had already begun to explore the world. It must be the work of a boundary monarch or above to be able to create such a stable world. However, the rules of the heavens and earth are still the same as the rules of the 9 heavens immortal realm, Jun Xiaoyao murmured. His vision was much clearer than the others. The rules of the world were based on the power of the rules of the 9 heavens immortal realm. Unlike Jun Xiaoyao, who was able to create a world that belonged solely to him. Even though I haven't found my own path, the world that these almighties have created is indeed very mature. Jun Xiaoyao was comprehending it. There was no sign of life in his inner universe. It could not form any life either. No living being would have been able to survive in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. That was because Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was still in its infancy. However, the world inside the Boat of Fortune was able to support the survival of living creatures. If the heavens and earth were to be robbed, the Boat of Fortune might be able to protect some people. Wow, am I seeing things? That's a radish as big as a hill. The tiny jade hare exclaimed. Her eyes glittered as she opened her mouth wide, because she saw a radish the size of a small hill. Jun Xiaoyao said, the rules of heaven and earth here have been specially modified. The spiritual qi here is rich and suitable for cultivators to cultivate. All kinds of plants have also grown more luxuriant. This is indeed a land of opportunity. Xia Bingyun's beautiful eyes also flashed with light. She cultivated with the precious book, and at this moment, she had already sensed quite a few treasures. She was a bit impatient. You can split up the search for opportunities, but remember, if you encounter any changes, don't think too much. Immediately leave the boat of destiny, Jun Xiaoyao said. EU and the others had strange expressions on their faces. Could it be that Jun Xiaoyao sensed something was wrong? However, they would naturally listen to Jun Xiaoyao. Soon, everyone split up and went to find their own opportunities. Jun Xiaoyao suddenly smiled and whispered to himself, if you want to play, then this Son of God will accompany you to the end. With that, Jun Xiaoyao took a step forward and entered the Boat of Destiny. The world inside the Boat of Destiny was very vast. It was like a continent in the lower realm. There were also many opportunities, such as immortal marrow veins, sacred herb fields, and so on. These opportunities would tempt even the outlawed sky prides. However, Jun Xiaoyao just flashed by and ignored them. He knew that Xia Bingyun and the others would go back and collect these treasures. What was theirs was Jun Xiaoyao's. Now that the entire Xia family belonged to Jun Xiaoyao, he did not have to collect these resources himself. Jun Xiaoyao only had one goal in coming to the Boat of Destiny, and that was to find the small world's origin source inside the Boat of Destiny. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was going deeper, the other sky prides were also searching in the small world. Of course, they would not have a smooth journey. There were also many ferocious beasts in the small world. Even some ancient mutated beasts could be seen. Some of them had been sent in when the Boat of Destiny was built. Some were the descendants of wild beasts. However, without exception, these mutated beasts were extremely powerful. Due to the small world's incomplete laws, these mutated beasts could not break through to a higher realm. However, they were nourished by rich spiritual energy, which made them even more ferocious, violent, and powerful. Everywhere, sky prides could be heard screaming in pain. Some of them had died and were bleeding profusely. Whoosh! An arrow pierced through a perfected sage-level flaming eagle. EU landed on the ground. Looking at the fire's spiritual earth vein, he grinned. This would be extremely helpful to his cultivation. On the other side, Yu Chanwan found an immortal herb that had been growing for an unknown number of years. It was the lunar underworld spirit flower. This flower's petals opened up like a lunar disk, sprinkling a holy brilliance. With this immortal herb, my injuries can be fully healed and improved. Yu Chanwan's beautiful eyes lit up. The Tying Jade Hare also found many sage-level carrots. Carrots, white carrots, green carrots, so many carrots. I'm so happy. The Tying Jade Hare's rabbit ears perked up in excitement. Of course, the one who gained the most was Xia Bingyun. After all, she cultivated with a treasure book, and treasure hunting was her specialty. Xia Bingyun waved her hand, and a golden bowl appeared in front of her. This was naturally not the treasure bowl. The Xia family would not let Xia Bingyun run around with a monarch weapon. This was a replica of the treasure bowl, but it also had part of the treasure bowl's abilities. Come! Xia Bingyun's jade-like hands formed a seal. The entire immortal marrow vein was sucked into the replica of the treasure bowl. Now that I've joined young Master's Monarch Imperial Court, I must show the value of the Xia family. Xia Bingyun's eyes were bright. She was very smart and knew very well what Jun Xiaoyao needed from the Xia family. It was money and resources. In the small world of the Boat of Fortune, the people around Jun Xiaoyao were all harvesting fortuitous opportunities. On the other side, Yuan Kandaozi also had his own harvest, but his expression was still not very good. I'm not satisfied if I can't get that woman. Yuan Kandaozi clenched his fists. His interest in Yin Ru Meng even exceeded his interest in the Taiyin holy physique. Forget it, it's better not to act rashly and wait for an opportunity, Yuan Kandaozi said coldly. At this moment, the Boat of Fortune was in full swing. The starry sky outside the Boat of Fortune was silent. All the prodigies had entered the Boat of Fortune. Amidst the silence, 4 figures suddenly appeared. These 4 figures shone with resplendent radiance and were wrapped in divine light. They were like 4 mythical gods that had descended into the world. They were scattered in the 4 directions of the north, south, east, and west, like the 4 mythical heavenly kings guarding the heavenly court. Guangmu, it's about time, said one of the figures. He's already in the trap. Let's activate that thing. Haha, it's already giving Jun Xiaoyao a lot of face to make the 4 of us attack at the same time. Don't be careless. Lord Gutizi has set this trap. We must take down Jun Xiaoyao in one fell swoop. Then we'll suppress him and only leave him with 1 breath. Then, Lord Gutizi will kill him and take the heavenly crown. Let's begin. If any prodigies were here and saw this scene, they would definitely be extremely shocked and shocked. These 4 were the 4 little heavenly kings of the supreme Xianting. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /books/5975/. Chapter 675. The 4 little heavenly kings of the supreme Xianting were extremely famous on the ancient road. Each of them was a sky pride who could dominate an entire ancient road and had the record of killing outlawed sky prides. They were also the best among the outlawed sky prides. If the 4 of them joined forces, even the supreme outlawed sky prides would be wary of them. However, in the past, there was almost nothing that could make the 4 little heavenly kings act together. This was the first time. Jun Xiaoyao was the only one who was qualified to make the 4 little heavenly kings act together. They took out a disc-like vessel. It was very ancient and had greenish-gold copper rust on its surface. It looked like it was dug out from the ground and was extremely old. The 4 of them poured their magical powers into the bronze disc at the same time. In an instant, the disc lit up and light patterns spread out like the roots of a plant. At the same time, light patterns appeared on the surface of the entire Boat of Destiny. They flickered as if they were resonating with the bronze disc. Meanwhile, the Sky Prides in the Boat of Destiny were unaware of all this. They were still eagerly searching for various opportunities. Various battle fluctuations erupted in the Boat of Destiny from time to time. It was between cultivators and beasts, and between cultivators. The people around Jun Xiaoyao were also looking for opportunities to improve themselves. Jun Xiaoyao himself went deep into the Boat of Destiny. At a certain moment, his footsteps paused slightly. He looked up at the sky and smiled faintly. You can't wait anymore? If that's the case, let me see what you're capable of. After saying that, Jun Xiaoyao continued to go deeper into the Boat of Destiny. He sensed the changes in the Boat of Destiny, but did not pay much attention to it. He continued to focus on his own matters. After about a few hours, Jun Xiaoyao almost arrived at the core area of the Boat of Destiny. This area was filled with an ancient aura. Ferocious beasts roared, and ancient birds covered the sky with their wings. It was an extremely dangerous place. Jun Xiaoyao sensed more than 10 sage, king-level beasts auras. It could be said that if ordinary sky prides were to come here, they would only be devoured by the beasts. Jun Xiaoyao did not care. He strolled leisurely and went deeper. Hiss! A Saint King-level mottled snake suddenly shot out from the dense grass. It opened its mouth and spat out a poisonous mist that was enough to turn a saint into pus and blood. Jun Xiaoyao casually threw out a punch. Divine might burst forth, and the wind from his fist was vast and mighty. The void was torn apart as tens of thousands of runes burst forth. Bang! The Saint King realm piebald python's head was directly smashed apart. With Jun Xiaoyao's current cultivation, ordinary Saint Kings were no threat to him. Roar! In the distance, a pitch-black mountain suddenly trembled and rocks rolled down. Shockingly, it was a pitch-black devilish ape that was over 1 kilometer tall and lofty like a primeval devilish mountain. The pitch-black demonic ape punched out, bringing with it a wave of pitch-black fishy wind. The mountain-sized fist smashed down, as heavy as 10,000 caddies. Jun Xiaoyao was still as ordinary as ever as he threw out a punch. The sacred body of the ancients, combined with the power of 100,000 divine elephants, burst forth. That power far surpassed that of the pitch-black demonic ape. Crack! With an explosion, the pitch-black demonic ape's thick arm exploded, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Jun Xiaoyao used his fingers as a sword. His figure flashed and swept past the pitch-black demonic ape. Blood spurted out from its black-haired neck. Its huge head fell down, and it was instantly dead. Then, Jun Xiaoyao continued to move forward. No ferocious beast could stop him. Finally, he went deep into this ancient area. However, he immediately sensed a faint sense of danger. The sound of wind and thunder came from the core of the area. That sound was like the roar of a cow, but also like thunder. Could it be? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. In front of him, between the towering mountains and precipitous ridges, wind and rain whistled, and lightning filled the sky. A strange beast that looked like a green ox was lying in the middle of it, sleeping soundly. And the sound of its breathing when it was sleeping was as vast as the wind and thunder, swallowing and spitting thunder. Jun Xiaoyao noticed that there was only one leg under the green ox. This is an ancient strange beast, the Kuei ox, Jun Xiaoyao thought. The Kuei ox was an extremely terrifying ancient strange beast. It was on par with a 9-headed fierce beast, Juyan ape, and Qiongqi. In ancient times, there were great emperor-level experts who killed the Kuei ox and used its skin to make the emperor weapon, the Kuei ox drum. When the drum sounded, it shook 3,000 worlds. Of course, the Kuei ox in front of him could not be a pure-blooded ancient Kuei ox. A pure-blooded ancient Kuei ox was strong enough to fight against a quasi-emperor. However, although it was not a pure-blooded ancient Kuei ox, it still had the strength of a great saint and could not be underestimated. The flame snake general that I killed before was only a half-step great saint. Even the 5th sinner of the sinful pit was injured because of him. This great saint Kuei ox is just right to test my current strength, Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. Although his realm had not changed much, his inner universe had transformed, and he had also cultivated the power of 5 Sumer worlds, as well as the 11th strand of immortal Qi. Therefore, his realm had not changed, but his strength was far greater than before. Jun Xiaoyao did not hesitate and directly attacked. If others were to see this scene, they would be extremely shocked. It was simply insane for a Saint Stage expert to attack a Great Saint Stage expert in perfect condition. Moreover, this Great Saint Kuei ox was definitely more powerful than a Great Saint of the same realm. Roar! The Kuei ox was immediately awakened and found that a human was attacking it. It let out an earth-shattering roar, and the sound turned into a destructive sound wave that swept out and shook all directions. The two sides began to fight. Jun Xiaoyao also attacked with all his strength, and 11 strands of immortal Qi appeared on the surface of his body. If other elites saw this scene, they would think that their eyes were playing tricks on them. 11 strands of immortal Qi, like 11 true dragons, wrapped around Jun Xiaoyao's body, causing Jun Xiaoyao's body to surge with immortal light, as if he was a supreme immortal king. Even the Kuei ox was a little dumbfounded, and its eyes were a little dazed. This human cultivator did not care about martial ethics and used so much immortal Qi to harm it, the old Kuei ox. Then, Jun Xiaoyao used the universal Qi cauldron and added the power of 5 Sumeru worlds to it. Divine power surged, and the laws shocked the world. Countless runes surged out like a vast ocean. Even the great Saint Kuei ox was a little overwhelmed in the face of such an attack. Jun Xiaoyao's strength could not be measured by cultivation realm. Soon, Jun Xiaoyao killed the Kuei ox. It had to be said that this great Saint Kuei ox was very strong. In Jun Xiaoyao's body, 3 of the 5 Sumeru worlds were broken. This meant that the Kuei ox's attack power was enough to destroy 3 Sumeru small worlds. However, because of the Sumeru worlds, the Kuei ox did not cause any harm to Jun Xiaoyao. The broken Sumeru worlds could be slowly recovered by replenishing all kinds of energy. Now, I don't have to be afraid of a great saint. Jun Xiaoyao measured his own strength. He did not use all his trump cards. Just relying on the immortal Qi, Sumeru worlds, universal Qi cauldron, and other power methods, he could deal with a great saint. After killing the Kuei ox, Jun Xiaoyao also came to the core area. This was a barren ancient land. Jun Xiaoyao used his fingers as a sword, and the immortal slaying sword Qi gushed out, swallowing a mighty sword light that was thousands of feet long and directly slashed down on the ground. The ground split open, and a myriad of strands of multicolored light effused out from within. They were extremely colorful and gorgeous. There was a blazing rain of light that spread out as if a divine object of heaven and earth was about to be born. Flowers of rules bloomed one after another, and they were incomparably gorgeous, accompanied by the rain of light of the great Tao, gushing with auspicious clouds. Under the crack, light spread out, and a hazy ball of origin appeared. It seemed to reflect the heavens, and all kinds of divine chains of rules intertwined with an incomparably mysterious aura. I've finally found it, the creation realm's origin. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes lit up, and he raised his hand to grab it. At this moment, the entire world in the boat of creation suddenly began to tremble, and there was an extremely shocking fluctuation. The order of heaven and earth fell into chaos. Oh, are you finally going to make a move? Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm, and he revealed a cold smile. Chapter 676. In the world of the boat of destiny, heaven and earth were shaking. It was as if an ancient giant was shaking the entire world with his hands. Mountains collapsed and the earth shattered. Many beasts and birds living in the world instinctively felt that something was wrong, as if destruction was coming. What's going on? What happened? Is the boat of destiny going to close? The paragons scattered in the world of the boat of destiny were shocked and confused. However, they had just entered and had not collected many opportunities, so they were unwilling to leave just like that. However, Jun Xiaoyao's subordinates had a different attitude. Young Master once said that if there are any strange movements in the boat of destiny, don't hesitate and leave immediately. Yu muttered to himself. In a flash, he flew out of the boat of destiny. Yin Rumong, Xia Bingyun, Yu Chanwan, Tying Jadehair, the 4 forbidden Tao children, and the others left the world of the boat of destiny without hesitation. They had heard Jun Xiaoyao's warning before, so they did not hesitate. What's going on? Yuan Kandaozi also felt that something was wrong. He was considered to be more cautious. After weighing the pros and cons, he gritted his teeth and left. Some paragons left the boat of destiny. However, there were also paragons who were not afraid of death and wanted to take a gamble. They continued to stay and search for opportunities frantically. On the other hand, Jun Xiaoyao looked at the changes in heaven and earth with a calm expression. At that moment, many divine chains of order suddenly appeared in the sky. The dense divine chains of order extended from the depths of the sky like roots and vines. Then they all fell. Rumble. There was a terrifying explosion of heavenly thunder. The thunderbolts were like angry dragons that poured down together with the divine chains of order. At that moment, all the paragons who stayed in the boat of destiny were dumbfounded. Their eyes were filled with shock and panic. They could feel an apocalyptic heavenly might sweeping down, as if it was going to destroy everything. How is this possible? What's going on? Could it be that we have collected too many opportunities and angered the world rules in the boat of destiny? All the paragons were at a loss and could not believe it. Soon, screams could be heard. Some geniuses had their bodies pierced by divine chains of order descending from the heavens, and their primordial spirits were annihilated. There were also some geniuses who were struck by the lightning. Their physical bodies turned to dust, and their primordial spirits exploded in the blazing lightning. It wasn't just those prodigies. There were all kinds of ferocious beasts and strange birds in the boat of destiny. As long as it was a living being, it would be attacked indiscriminately by the lightning, tribulation, and God's sequence chains. This was a calamity that would wipe out all living beings. Screams of agony rose and fell one after another, lingering in the ears. On Jun Xiaoyao's side, he was also under attack. Hundreds of divine chains of order fell from the sky and pierced through. Ordinary prodigies could be killed with just a few God's sequence chains. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was facing hundreds of God's sequence chains. So that's how it is. Using the worldly rules of the boat of fortune to deal with me is indeed a good idea. Jun Xiaoyao knew that the other party must be afraid of him, which was why they had used the boat of fortune to set up a trap. He raised his hand and struck out. Vast divine power surged, and his chi surged like a dragon into the sky. Immortal light surged and shone brightly. Jun Xiaoyao used the Lightning Emperor's finger of the Lightning Emperor's great divine power. He pointed out with his finger, and it was as if the ancient Lightning Emperor had pressed down with his finger. The lightning tribulation that filled the sky was absorbed, increasing its power. When the Lightning Emperor's finger landed, hundreds of God sequence chains exploded at the same time, and runes shot out. That would have been a surefire death trap for common geniuses, but it was nothing to Jun Xiaoyao. At this moment, outside the boat of fortune, one figure after another emerged from the distorted space. Those were the figures that had escaped from the boat of fortune previously. As soon as they came out, they immediately saw the four figures standing on the four sides of the boat of fortune. Those four figures were like the legendary heavenly generals of the heavenly court, wrapped in endless divine light. The four of them were activating a bronze disc together. There was a deep connection between the bronze disc and the Ark of Fortune. They are the four little heavenly kings of the supreme Xianting. Some prodigies exclaimed in shock. They never expected that the changes in the boat of fortune would come from the four little heavenly kings of the Xianting. It really is the four little heavenly kings. Why are they here? Could it be because someone looked confused and then immediately thought of something? Jun Xiaoyao. These three words immediately appeared in everyone's minds. Apart from Jun Xiaoyao, they couldn't think of anyone else who was qualified to make the four little heavenly kings act together. Yu, Yin Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, and the others also left the boat of fortune immediately. Where is the young master? Why didn't he come out? Xia Bingyun looked around and hurriedly asked. Jun Xiaoyao reminded them to come out, but he didn't come out himself. Don't worry. He naturally has his reasons, Yin Rumeng said. It was not the first time Jun Xiaoyao was in danger. He had his reasons for doing whatever he wanted. They are, on the other hand, Yu fixed his eyes on the four little heavenly kings. They are the four little heavenly kings of the supreme Xianting. They were the ones who did it. Could it be? Xia Bingyun immediately thought of many possibilities. On the other side, Heavenly King Xingzhong of the four minor heavenly kings, who was clad in green armor, smirked and said, I'm afraid that Jun Xiaoyao has no idea that the Almighty of the immortal court who forged the boat of fortune is from the Fuxi celestial lineage. The supreme Xianting was an undying faction that once ruled over the nine heavens immortal realm. It went without saying that it had more than one lineage. It was divided into different immortal lineages. The first ones that showed up on the ancient ultimate road were the successors of the Fuxi immortal lineage and the Empress Hua immortal lineage. Gu Tizi of the Fuxi immortal lineage and Ling Yan, the princess of the Empress Hua immortal lineage. The person who built the boat of fortune was an expert from the ancient Fuxi immortal lineage. Senior Gu Tizi has found the control hub of the Boat of Fortune due to a fortunate encounter. He gave it to us to set up a trap to take down Jun Xiaoyao. We must complete the mission perfectly. Heavenly King Dhritarashtra in a white armor and holding a jade peepus said. Perhaps none of the elites would have guessed that the appearance of the Boat of Creation was a trap set up by the ancient prince from the very beginning. A trap specifically set up to take down Jun Xiaoyao. I wonder what's going on inside the Boat of Fortune? Heavenly Emperor Polyone in a green armor asked. Heavenly Emperor Guangmu in a red armor said with a calm smile, "Let's take a look." He activated his own technique, and divine light flickered in his eyes. A huge spiritual eye appeared in the void. Suddenly, the scene inside the Boat of Fortune was projected into the universe. In the scene, heaven and earth roared as countless divine chains danced in the air. Lightning bolts poured down like a waterfall, as if it was the end of the world. This was because the four little heavenly kings had activated the control hub of the Boat of Destiny, which was the bronze disc. The bronze disc could control the precepts of heaven and earth inside the Boat of Fortune. When they saw the scene in the projection, all the sky prides who managed to escape trembled in fear. They were overjoyed to have survived a calamity. They were only one step away from death. It's the young master, Xiao Bingyun, and the others saw it through the projection. In the core area of the Boat of Fortune, Jun Xiaoyao stood alone in the sky, resisting the divine chains. What? He's not injured at all? Seeing Jun Xiaoyao calmly resisting the divine chains, the four heavenly kings were slightly stunned. The other geniuses could be killed with just a few divine chains. But now, hundreds of divine chains shot out at the same time, and Jun Xiaoyao was not injured at all. This was a little terrifying and beyond their expectations. Chapter 677. No wonder Lord Gu Tizi told us not to be careless. Jun Xiaoyao really can't be judged by common sense, Dhritarashtra said with a solemn expression. So what? Jun Xiaoyao is now a caged beast. Are you still afraid that he will escape? Heavenly King Zhengzhong sneered. Increase the intensity of your attacks on Jun Xiaoyao, but don't kill him. When the time comes, keep him alive and let Lord Gu Tizi kill him. Heavenly King Duowen reminded. Any one of the 7 rebellious emperors who killed Jun Xiaoyao would be rewarded with a heavenly Dao crown. After fusing with it, they would definitely have the potential to become a great emperor. But the prerequisite was that they had to kill Jun Xiaoyao with their own hands. Whether it was a scheme, a trap, or a hunt, it would only be effective if they killed him with their own hands. Now, if the 4 heavenly kings used the power of the Boat of Destiny to kill Jun Xiaoyao directly, Gu Tizi would not receive any rewards. Therefore, they had to bring Jun Xiaoyao back alive. Of course, they only needed a trace of life aura. They could even bring Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit back. The 4 heavenly kings activated the control hub. Inside the Boat of Destiny, more divine chains of order flew out as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The elites who had not escaped and the ferocious beasts that remained in the small world were almost all killed and turned into ashes under the heavenly tribulation. Only Jun Xiaoyao was still alive in the Boat of Destiny. Outside, Yin Ruming trembled and could not help but say, could it be that there are 7 rebellious emperors in the supreme Xianting? Jun Xiaoyao was playing a game with the heavenly Dao, and the 7 rebellious emperors were sent to deal with Jun Xiaoyao. This was already known to everyone. The only thing that people did not know was the identity of the 7 rebellious emperors. Jun Xiaoyao and the supreme Xianting did not have any conflict before. Now, the 4 heavenly kings were targeting Jun Xiaoyao. It was obvious that someone in the supreme Xianting had instructed him to do so. How dare you attack the young master? Die. He was the first to attack without hesitation. Even if his opponents were the famous 4 heavenly kings of Xianting, he was not afraid at all. The star extermination bow of destruction was drawn, gathering the power of the stars to form an arrow that shot out explosively. Oof. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Overestimating yourself. Heavenly King Verpka and Heavenly King Vaisravana turned around and charged at EU. On the other side, Yu Chanwan, Xia, Bingyun, the four forbidden Dao children, and the others also attacked. Yin Ruming took a step forward and was about to make a move as well. Naturally, they could not watch the four heavenly kings surround and hunt Jun Xiaoyao. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of Yin Ruming. It was Yuan Kandaozi. Yin Ruming's beautiful face was filled with anger. She didn't think that Yuan Kandaozi would take this opportunity to make things difficult for her. I finally found a chance. It's impossible to save Jun Xiaoyao, Yuan Kandaozi said with a cold smile. This opportunity was finally grasped by him. In his view, with the four heavenly kings making a move, Jun Xiaoyao was likely going to be done for this time. He could also make use of this opportunity to suppress Yin Ruming. At the same time, he could also gain the Supreme Xian Ting's favorable impression. Something that could have the best of both worlds. Why not? Yuan Kandaozi, you'll regret it. Yin Ruming's jade-like face was cold as she directly attacked. A chaotic battle broke out. One had to admit that the four heavenly kings of Xian Ting were extremely strong. One heavenly king Vice-Ravana blocked EU and Yuchanwan. Heavenly King Verpka faced Xiaobingyun and the four forbidden Dao children alone. Looks like you all are crazy to dare attack the Supreme Xian Ting. Heavenly King Verpka snorted coldly. Although the Supreme Xian Ting had collapsed, its power was still there. These people were actually going against him for Jun Xiaoyao. Making an enemy out of young master is the stupidest thing you've ever done. Xia Bingyun reprimanded coldly. Outside the Boat of Destiny, a shocking battle broke out. The other prodigies were watching from afar. On one side was Jun Xiaoyao's camp, and on the other side was the Supreme Xian Ting's camp. Neither side was easy to provoke. This was not a situation they could intervene in. If they stood on the wrong side, it would be over. On the other side, Heavenly King Zhengzhong and Heavenly King Dhritarashtra were the control hubs. Suddenly, inside the Boat of Destiny, heaven and earth were overturned, and the laws were chaotic. Thousands of God sequence chains fell from the sky, attacking Jun Xiaoyao in unison. This was extremely terrifying. A few God sequence chains were enough to kill an ordinary prodigy. At this moment, thousands of God sequence chains were attacking one person at the same time. The power could be imagined. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent. The four heavenly kings thought that he was a trapped beast, but they did not know that he had already noticed the clues. If Jun Xiaoyao wanted to leave, he could have done so long ago. This method is not enough to take my life, Jun Xiaoyao. The myriad chi cauldron was suspended above Jun Xiaoyao. Wisps of myriad chi fell, becoming his strongest defense. Jun Xiaoyao's mana was fully activated. The sacred body of the ancients was like a dragon that crossed the sky. Every move could shatter the void and turn heaven and earth upside down. Continuous clanging sounds were heard. The god sequence chains fell on the myriad chi cauldron, and the sound of metal trembling burst out. Jun Xiaoyao used the Thunder Emperor's great technique and the Kuan Peng's great technique. With a raise of his hand, many god sequences were shattered. In the outside world, Heavenly King Zhengzhong and Heavenly King Dhritarashtra were extremely surprised when they saw this scene. One had to know that this was not their doing, but the laws of the Boat of Destiny. Who built the Boat of Destiny? It was built by the Supreme Xian Ting, Fuxi celestial lineage of the ancient times. The current Jun Xiaoyao was equivalent to fighting against the laws established by that Almighty. Continue. The two of them controlled the bronze disc again. Waves of rule power fell like shackles, imprisoning Jun Xiaoyao. This was the suppression of the rule power, which caused Jun Xiaoyao's strength to decrease. Jun Xiaoyao immediately felt as if there was a great force pressing down on him. The pressure was so great that his physical body and bones were cracking. This is at least the Emperor realm rule power. The one who built the Boat of Destiny was a great emperor. Although it had been a long time, and the rule power in the Boat of Destiny was not complete, it was still the work of a great emperor. When a rule power fell, not to mention a saint, even a supreme saint or sacred lord would probably have their physical body shattered. Jun Xiaoyao was only able to withstand it due to his resilient physical body. He could still hold on like this. In the outside world, Dhritarashtra and Zhengzhong did not know what to say. That was the Emperor Realm rule power. Even if the rule power was incomplete due to the passage of time, it was not something that a saint could withstand. If we strengthen the rule power and accidentally kill Jun Xiaoyao, that would be bad, Dhritarashtra said. Gu Tizi wanted them to suppress Jun Xiaoyao and bring him back to kill him personally. Let's go in. With the rule power of heaven and earth suppressing, Jun Xiaoyao can't do anything, Zhengzhong said. Dhritarashtra nodded. With the control hub, the Boat of Destiny was their home ground. On the other side, Virapaksa and Vaisravana's eyes flashed when they saw this, and they retreated at the same time. The four minor heavenly kings escaped into the Boat of Destiny. Don't run. EU and the others caught up and wanted to enter the Boat of Destiny, but they found that the entire Boat of Destiny was sealed. The four minor heavenly kings had the authority to control the Boat of Destiny. Damn it! EU's eyes were cold. On the other side, Yin Ruming temporarily stopped fighting with Origin's silkworm Daozi. No wonder my celestial silkworm treasure reacted. It turns out that your true form is the sky dream bewildering butterfly. Origin's silkworm Daozi's eyes were burning. Their celestial silkworm valley had a long history with the cracked demonic butterfly, archaic emperor butterfly, and sky dream bewildering butterfly. Origin's silkworm Daozi's heart was burning. By the time Jun Xiaoyao fell, he would be able to suppress Yin Rumeng without any worries and take her for himself. Yin Rumeng was not in the mood to tangle with Origin's silkworm Daozi now. She looked at the projection in the starry sky with a hint of anxiety in her beautiful eyes. The four minor heavenly kings had sealed the entire Boat of Destiny to hunt Jun Xiaoyao. Under the suppression of the Boat of Destiny's Emperor Realm rules, even someone as strong as Jun Xiaoyao was suppressed to the extreme and could not unleash his full strength. On the other hand, the four minor heavenly kings were in their peak condition. When the four of them joined forces, even the supreme outlawed Sky Prides would be wary. All the Sky Prides focused their attention on the Boat of Destiny. They wanted to witness the battle between the four minor heavenly kings. They wanted to hunt the invincible legend of the younger generation. In the end, would the four minor heavenly kings die, or would the legend be destroyed? Chapter 678. The world inside the Boat of Destiny was riddled with holes. The ground was shattered and the mountains were char-black. After the baptism of the heavenly tribulation lightning waterfall, the entire world inside the Boat of Destiny was dead silent. A thick burnt stench filled the air. It was the smell of ferocious beasts and cultivator corpses after being baptized by the heavenly tribulation. It could be said that this was a great massacre. If word got out, it would shock the entire ancient road. This was because many famous sky prides had fallen in it. What was even more tragic was that they were just fish in the pond that got caught in the fire. From the beginning to the end, they were not the target. In the void, the four heavenly kings tore through the void and arrived at the core area. What surprised them was that the white-clothed figure was just standing there calmly, as if he was waiting for the four of them to arrive. Jun Xiaoyao, I didn't expect that even the divine sequence chains couldn't kill you. You've really exceeded our expectations, Dhritarashtra said calmly. The four of them were divided into four directions, east, west, north, and south, surrounding Jun Xiaoyao in the middle. To them, Jun Xiaoyao was like a turtle in a jar, a beast trapped in a cage. It was impossible for him to escape or resist. They also wanted to see how the invincible Sky Pride, who had dominated the Emperor Road all the way to the Ancient Road Ultimate Road, would look like when he became a prisoner. To their surprise, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was very calm, without a single ripple. Four heavenly kings of the Xian Ting, I, the Son of God, haven't found the Xian Ting yet, but you found me first. It seems that this Boat of Destiny is a big gift that you've prepared for me, the Son of God, Jun Xiaoyao said. Previously, when Jun Xiaoyao learned that the Boat of Destiny was built by the ancient supreme Xian Ting Almighty, he had some guesses in his heart. However, he was not sure. Later on, when he came to the Boat of Destiny, the four heavenly kings sealed their auras and hid in the dark. However, With Jun Xiaoyao's sharp senses, not a trace of fluctuation could escape his senses. Jun Xiaoyao was immediately able to confirm that it was a trap set up to lure him in. But Jun Xiaoyao didn't care and entered the game leisurely. This was because he indeed needed the world of creation's world's origin in the boat of creation. As for scheming, once a person's strength had reached a certain extreme, in front of him, all schemes and schemes seemed pale and powerless. However, the only thing that Jun Xiaoyao had not expected was that they could actually control the nomological laws of the boat of destiny. However, this only surprised Jun Xiaoyao a little. Everything was still under his control. Wrong, we didn't set this trap for you. It was Lord Gu Tizi who set this trap for you. Heavenly King Zhengzhong sneered. Gu Tizi, the descendant of the Fuxi immortal lineage? Jun Xiaoyao asked calmly. The rise of the Jun family was destined to clash with the supreme Xianting. Jun Xiaoyao didn't plan to deal with the supreme Xianting so early. However, the supreme Xianting came to him first. That Gu Tizi should be one of the 7 defiant emperors, Jun Xiaoyao said calmly. It seems that you're not stupid. Lord Gu Tizi has the supreme Fuxi sacred physique and has received the inheritance of the great emperor. In the future, he is destined to lead the supreme Xianting to rise again. And you, Jun Xiaoyao, should sacrifice yourself and let Lord Gu Tizi get the heavenly crown. Heavenly King Guangmu said coldly. Jun Xiaoyao suddenly laughed when he heard this. How can you still laugh? The 4 heavenly kings frowned. Jun Xiaoyao sighed and said with a smile, Go back and tell Gu Tizi that there are exceptions to defying the heavens. Those who defy me have no chance of survival. Those who oppose me are all dead men. His words were deafening, causing heaven and earth to shake and the sky to tremble. How dare you? How dare you? The 4 heavenly kings' expressions changed, and they shouted loudly. Then, they directly activated the bronze disc. In an instant, the heavenly Tao's rules condensed and turned into substantial shackles that were imposed on Jun Xiaoyao's body. The heavenly Tao's shackles were extremely heavy. When an ordinary saint put on, his physical body would directly collapse. However, Jun Xiaoyao's sacred physique released light, and there was a divine glow circulating. His vitality was like a dragon, and he withstood it. However, his dermic powers and physical strength were restrained to the extreme. He couldn't use much of his strength at all. Outside the boat of destiny, everyone who saw this scene sighed. Although the 4 heavenly kings were very strong, if Jun Xiaoyao was in his peak state, he might be able to fight against the 4 of them at the same time. However, Jun Xiaoyao was restricted by the heavenly Tao's rules in the boat of destiny and couldn't use his strength at all. How could he be a match for the 4 heavenly kings? Yin Rumong, Xia Bingyun, Yu Chanwan, and the others were extremely worried and anxious. I believe in the master's strength. Yu's eyes were filled with confidence. He already worshipped Jun Xiaoyao unconditionally and thought that Jun Xiaoyao was invincible. Of course, there were also bystanders who sneered, such as Yuan Kandaozi. It seems that the legend of the son of God of the Jun family is going to be shattered today. A great battle began in the boat of destiny. You're just a turtle in a jar. How dare you talk nonsense? Let me suppress you. Among the 4 heavenly kings, Heavenly King Zhangzhong, who was wearing a blue armor, was the first to attack. He held a blue cloud sword in his hand. The blade was 6 feet long, and the blade spat out a blue sword aura that seemed to be able to cut the sky in half. Kill! Heavenly King Zhangzhong's sword fell, and the sword aura was vast and mighty, like a blue galaxy. Jun Xiaoyao used his fingers as a sword and performed the sword art of the immortal slayer. The sword aura was mighty and powerful, and the terrifying scene of an immortal god falling appeared. Jun Xiaoyao didn't retreat at all, but Heavenly King Zhangzhong grunted and took a few steps back with a look of disbelief on his face. How is that possible? Are you not suppressed by the chains of rules? Heavenly King Zhangzhong couldn't believe it. That's impossible. The other 3 heavenly kings also widened their eyes. The power of the chains of rules was on Jun Xiaoyao, and it was as heavy as 10,000 pounds, restricting his physical strength and dharma power. Theoretically, Jun Xiaoyao could only use 30% of his strength at most. Could it be? Heavenly King Dhritarashtra gasped when he thought a certain possibility. The only possibility was that even if Jun Xiaoyao only had 30% of his strength left, it was enough to crush Heavenly King Zhangzhang. I don't believe it. Again, Heavenly King Zhangzhang roared. He was one of the top outlawed sky prides, and he had once beheaded an outlawed sky pride with his blue cloud sword. Given his level of training, there was no way he would have been unable to take on Jun Xiaoyao, whose powers have been suppressed to the extreme. Fool! Jun Xiaoyao did not bother to say anything else. He stepped forward and performed the Kuan Peng's extreme speed. His figure instantly appeared in front of Heavenly King Zhangzhang and performed the Kuan Peng's grand divine power. He waved his hand like a Kuan Peng swinging its tail, stirring up endless waves of runes. His casual attack caused the void to explode, and it was powerful enough to shatter mountains. Heavenly King Zhangzhang held his sword in front of him, but he felt an unparalleled force of divine power coming at him, and he could not help but vomit blood. Many of his bones were broken, and half of his body was on the verge of collapse. The surface of his body was covered in blood and cracks. Chapter 679. Everyone inside and outside the boat of destiny fell silent at the sight of this. Jun Xiaoyao, who had been suppressed by the world's laws and only had 30% of his strength left, was able to easily defeat Heavenly King Xingzhang, one of the 4 Heavenly Kings. It was hard to believe what they were seeing. The 4 Heavenly Kings are the best of the best among the outlawed sky prides. Each of them has killed an outlawed sky pride before. But now, they can't even defeat the Jun family son of God, who only has 30% of his strength left. This scene refreshed everyone's understanding of the world. They now had a new understanding of Jun Xiaoyao's title of invincible among the younger generation. Primal Silkworm Taoist was also dumbfounded. He began to feel an inexplicable panic in his heart. Inside the boat of destiny, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. This situation was within his expectations. That was because Jun Xiaoyao had never used his full strength when fighting against people of the same age. At most, he would only use a fraction of his strength. Although his strength was now restricted by the rule shackles, the 4 Heavenly Kings could not do anything to him with what little strength he had left. Die! Heavenly King Verpka, one of the 4 Heavenly Kings, suddenly attacked. He held the gold and silver maces in his hands and struck the void, his magical energy surging. The gold and silver maces seemed to have turned into a pair of gold and silver dragons, roaring at Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao turned around, lightning flashing between his fingers. Bolts of lightning condensed into stars, suspended in the void, and bombarded Heavenly King Verpka. This was the lightning star transformation technique. Every time a star exploded, a monstrous amount of lightning would surge out. It was not inferior to the lightning tribulation that descended from the sky before. Heavenly King Verpka was also repelled, blood flowing from his mouth. As a result, the remaining 2 Heavenly Kings could no longer sit still. Previously, they thought that they could easily kill Jun Xiaoyao, who was suppressed by the world's laws. Now, it seemed that they were too naive. How could Jun Xiaoyao, who was known as the invincible legend of the younger generation, be so easily tricked by them? Jun Xiaoyao, don't be so arrogant. Heavenly King Poliwan made his move as well, summoning a primordial chaos umbrella. The umbrella opened, and it was as if the heavens were pressing down. Clouds were faintly discernible, stars were rising and falling, and primordial energy was surging. It was as if it encompassed an entire world, pressing down on Jun Xiaoyao, wanting to suppress him within. Jun Xiaoyao's chi pierced through the galaxy, and the true body of the immemorial divine elephant appeared, turning into a world-suppressing divine elephant. Its huge body was bigger than a galaxy. The divine elephant true body looked up to the sky and let out a long howl. He used the divine elephant sky crumbling tackle and charged towards the chaos umbrella. The primordial chaos umbrella, which was as large as the heavens, was directly knocked over, emitting a rumbling sound. Heavenly King Polywin was also affected and spat out blood. Dhritarashtra's face darkened when he saw this. He played the jade pipa in his hand. The rainbow-colored sound wave spread out. Not only did this sound wave suppress Jun Xiaoyao's dermic powers and divine power, but also suppressed Jun Xiaoyao's dermic powers. Furthermore, it was actually supporting the cultivation realms of the other 3 heavenly kings. Their auras rose again, and the source of their dermic powers erupted like a volcano. Together with Dhritarashtra, the 4 of them pressed down on Jun Xiaoyao. In other words, the 4 heavenly kings were giving it their all. The 4 of them had never joined forces to deal with another prodigy. Even outlawed sky prides were not qualified to make them do this. However, this was all they could do now. Otherwise, they would not be able to suppress Jun Xiaoyao. The emerald cloud sword in Heavenly King Zhengzhang's hand emitted millions of emerald rays of light. Runes flickered and Taoist precepts intertwined. Heavenly King Verpkare's eyes surged with divine light and shot out. At the same time, he lashed out with the gold and silver maces in his hand. Heavenly King Polywin held the chaos umbrella and pressed down again. This was an extremely terrifying divine weapon. When it fell, even outlawed sky prides would be sucked into it. Dhritarashtra activated his jade pipa, and destructive sound waves spread out. In other words, the 4 heavenly kings attacked without holding back. Even the supreme outlawed sky prides had to be cautious of the energy waves that erupted. A dazzling light erupted in that area. Various great Tao runes poured out, and Tao laws intertwined. The ground crumbled, and the wind and clouds surged. Outside the Ark of Destiny, all sky prides were watching with rapt attention. Was it the 4 heavenly kings, the Orion god, or the invincible legends? Boom! An incomparably terrifying power surged out like a volcanic eruption. It was the energy of life and death. Jun Xiaoyao activated his Daoyuo immortal body and performed the heavenly death wheel. The Tao laws of life and death intertwined in his hands, as if he was the god of life and death who ruled the world with one hand. On the surface of his body, a wisp of immortal qi of life and death appeared, supporting Jun Xiaoyao's power. In the face of this absolutely terrifying divine ability, even the 4 heavenly kings' expressions changed. They also activated their own immortal qi. Each of them had 5 wisps of immortal qi, which was extremely terrifying. If not for the fact that this era was the era of great battles, it would be too dazzling. If this was the ancient road of the previous era, the 4 heavenly kings would definitely be able to dominate. All schemes will only seem foolish and laughable in the face of absolute power. Jun Xiaoyao activated the creation of life and death. He reached out and grabbed, and the power of life and death surged. Heavenly King Zhengzhang was directly hit and let out an inhuman roar. At first, his body suddenly expanded, as if his life force had become too exuberant. Then, it suddenly collapsed and caved in. His internal organs and bones were turned into minced meat, and even his primordial spirit was crushed. A heavenly king had fallen. Jun Xiaoyao did not hesitate. A dazzling divine order chain flew out from between his brows and turned into a golden short sword. It was the primitive Emperor Tao sword, and it shot toward Heavenly King Verpkare's head. Slash! The sword pierced through his head. Heavenly King Verpkare's primordial spirit was instantly penetrated. Then, his body was also wrapped in the power of life and death. It expanded and collapsed, destroying his life structure. Dhritarashtra used the Ark of Destiny's laws to suppress it. Heavenly King Dwayne's expression was extremely horrified, and he could not help but roar. Dhritarashtra's face was also pale, and he hurriedly summoned the bronze disc. Suddenly, tens of thousands of divine order chains shot down from the sky above. At the same time, various rule shackles appeared, trying to imprison Jun Xiaoyao. He wanted to use the power of the Ark of Destiny to completely kill Jun Xiaoyao. Originally, according to Gutizi's orders, They were to suppress Jun Xiaoyao and then bring him back. But now, their lives were in danger, so how could they care about the mission? Tens of thousands of divine order chains rushed toward Jun Xiaoyao, and the rule shackles appeared. This could be said to be a fatal blow, and no one could resist it. After all, the rule shackles in the Ark of Destiny were left behind by the emperors of old. Although it had been damaged a lot with the passage of time, it was still not something that a saint could withstand. Jun Xiaoyao died. Dhritarashtra and Heavenly King Duowen's eyes were red with deep hatred. They wanted to avenge their other two companions. Outside the Ark of Destiny, all the prodigies also held their breaths, waiting for the result. However, most of them thought that Jun Xiaoyao was really done for. It was easy for the rule shackles left behind by the emperors of old to kill a saint. Xiaoyao, young master, Yin Rumong, Xia Bingyun, Yu Chanwan, Tying Jade Hair, and the others all looked anxious and worried. And in the next moment, time seemed to have stopped. All the prodigies' eyes widened silently. In the Ark of Destiny, Jun Xiaoyao slowly raised his hand, and an incomparably vast and turbulent origin energy spread out. It was accompanied by mysterious rule shackles. This was the power of the inner universe, the power of the inner universe that belonged to Jun Xiaoyao. This power was like an inverted jade bowl, enveloping and protecting Jun Xiaoyao as if it had turned into his own world, isolated from the world of the Ark of Destiny. All the divine chains of order and the rule shackles were unable to move an inch when they landed on this power. The terrifying and mysterious power that Jun Xiaoyao had used could actually block the rule shackles left behind by the emperors of old. How is this possible? Dhritarashtra and Heavenly King Duowen's minds seemed to have stopped. They could not think at all and could not understand what was happening in front of them. At that moment, Jun Xiaoyao stood in that independent world as if he was the only god in heaven and earth. I am the heavens, and the heavens are me. The place where I stand is impenetrable by gods and demons, and impenetrable by all rule shackles. Jun Xiaoyao's voice was vast and mighty, like an ancient god whispering, creating his own world and evolving heaven and earth. At that moment, everyone was shocked. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /book/5975/. Chapter 680. The geniuses could not describe what they were witnessing with words. Jun Xiaoyao felt like he was standing at the center of the heavens and earth. He was the ruler of the heavens and earth. The heavens and earth bowed before him. Jun Xiaoyao was like the ancient deity that had created the heavens and earth. His body was supporting the heavens and earth, forming a world of his own. This was an incomparably shocking scene that should not appear on a saint at all. If someone were to tell them that Jun Xiaoyao was a martial monarch, most people would believe it. The reason being that his aura was too shocking. Dhritarashtra and the others were minuscule before Jun Xiaoyao, like ants under the feet of an ancient deity. How is this possible? What kind of power is this? Dhritarashtra and Heavenly King Duowen were about to lose their minds. They could not understand it all. Was it really something that a saint could control? It did not make any sense. Don't try to figure out what the Son of God is capable of with your minuscule thoughts. Jun Xiaoyao glanced down at the two and said coldly, "Impossible. These are the rules of the heavens and earth left by the martial monarch. Even if they are incomplete, they are still not something a saint like you can stand a chance against." Dhritarashtra yelled and activated the copper disc again. Countless chains of order poured down together with the lightning, yet they were unable to break through the barrier. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flickered with a hint of disdain. He was looking at Dhritarashtra like he was looking at a clown. It was true that the world inside the Boat of Fortune was the work of the martial monarch. Firstly, the rules of the heavens and earth that the martial monarch had left behind were incomplete after such a long time. It was less than 1/100th of what it was at its peak. Secondly, Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was a law of his own, a law of his own. The rules that the martial monarch had left behind were borrowing the Tao of the Nine Heavens' immortal realm instead of his own. One had forged his own Tao, while the other had borrowed the Tao of the Nine Heavens immortal realm. It was obvious which one was better. 4 emperors hunting deities. It's not that easy to kill a god. Jun Xiaoyao wore an icy grin. Let's go. Without the slightest hesitation, Dhritarashtra and Vaishravana retreated rapidly and flew into the distance. Jun Xiaoyao's strength had not only far exceeded their expectations, but it had also far exceeded Gu Tizi's expectations. You want to leave? How is that possible? For little heavenly kings, just wipe them out, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently in a casual tone. Killing the 4 little heavenly kings, whose names shook the ancient road, was as easy as killing a few ants. He raised his hand. An array of light that seemed to have been carved out from the chaos shot out. It was Genesis, light of God. As the light exploded, a part of the world was annihilated. Dhritarashtra and Vaishravana didn't even have the chance to scream before their bodies and souls were obliterated by the blinding light. Not even a speck of ash was left behind. At this point, the 4 heavenly kings of Xianting were all dead. The world inside the Ark of Destiny fell silent. Outside the boat of destiny, it was also dead silent. Only the sound of some elites swallowing their saliva could be heard. The 4 heavenly kings of Xianting died, just like that. Not only did the 4 of them attack at the same time, but they also relied on the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth on the boat of destiny. In the end, they were still no match for the Jun family son of God. They didn't even have the ability to injure the Jun family son of God. After a brief moment of silence, there was an uproar that soared into the sky. Today, they had seen what it meant to be truly invincible among the younger generation. In the past, when you told me that someone could break through the entire ancient road, I didn't believe it. But now, after seeing the Jun family son of God, I believe it, a genius said in a daze. Shock, surprise, admiration, and admiration. Many emotions appeared on the faces of all the elites. Yin Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, Yu Chanwan, and the other girls were all smiling, completely relieved. I told you, young master is invincible. Yu also clenched his fists, his eyes filled with fanatical admiration. On the other side, Yuan Kandaozi was completely dumbfounded. He had seen the invincible power of the 9 transformations celestial silkworm in his family. But now, after seeing Jun Xiaoyao's performance, his heart was slightly shaken. Could the 9 transformations celestial silkworm defeat Jun Xiaoyao? At that moment, Yuan Kandaozi suddenly felt a sense of danger. He glanced around and found that Yin Rumeng was coldly looking at him. Yu, Xia Bingyun, Yu Chanwan, the 4 forbidden Taoists, and the others also looked unfriendly. Everyone! Yuan Kandaozi's back was covered in cold sweat. Didn't you say that you wanted to suppress me? Yin Rumeng gritted her teeth. Her jade-like hands clenched into fists, making cracking sounds. If it weren't for her extreme anger, Yin Rumeng wouldn't have called him mommy. Obviously, Yuan Kandaozi had completely angered her. What happened next was needless to say. The consequences of angering a woman were terrifying. Yuan Kandaozi was surrounded by Yin Rumeng and the others. With a final scream, he died with hatred. Then, Jun Xiaoyao's consciousness came from the boat of destiny. You and the others come in. You and the others' eyes lit up as they entered. Jun Xiaoyao had obtained the bronze disc, which was the control hub, so he could naturally control the entire boat of destiny. It could be said that the ancient prince's plan to take down Jun Xiaoyao was a huge loss. It was a double whammy. Not only did he lose the 4 heavenly kings, but he also lost the boat of destiny. Seeing Yin Rumeng and the others enter the boat of destiny, the other geniuses in the outside world could only look on with envy. It seems that all the opportunities in the boat of destiny will belong to the Jun family son of God. I'm so envious of the son of God's followers. Not to mention the ordinary cultivators. Even the famous geniuses were full of envy right now. The identity of Jun Xiaoyao's follower was a supreme honor. If I can follow the son of God, even if it's just being a maid, I'd be willing. A peerless female cultivator sighed and was very envious of Yin Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, and the others. On the other side, Yu and the others entered the boat of destiny and arrived at the core area. Jun Xiaoyao was dressed in white and stood quietly in the void, looking very calm. It was impossible to tell that he had just gone through a great battle. Yu's eyes were full of fanatical worship. As for Yin Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, and the other girls, their beautiful eyes couldn't help but flash with extraordinary splendor. Jun Xiaoyao's performance, just now, was really shocking. He was like a peerless Prince Charming. Even Yu Chanwan, who had only known Jun Xiaoyao for a short time, had a strange look in her eyes. Before, she thought that Yu was already outstanding enough. Now it seemed that it was because he followed an even more outstanding master. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Jun Xiaoyao said, "This boat of destiny is full of spirit qi and is very suitable for cultivation. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion here, and you can also cultivate here. In addition, I've already obtained the core of the boat of destiny. All the resources and treasures in the boat of destiny will belong to us. After I'm done, I'll give the core of the boat of destiny to Xia Bingyun. The Xia family will be in charge of the boat of destiny in the future. It'll be convenient for you to transport resources and communicate with the Emperor's palace." With just a few words, Jun Xiaoyao had already arranged everything in an orderly fashion. Xia Bingyun couldn't help but be happy. The opportunities in the boat of destiny were definitely a huge amount of wealth. Even the rich Xia family would be tempted. She didn't expect that the Xia family would receive such benefits without contributing anything after joining Jun Xiaoyao. Xia Bingyun was a little embarrassed and couldn't help but ask, "Young master, the boat of destiny is so precious. Is it really okay to give it to the Xia family?" Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand and said, "The Xia family is also a part of the Emperor's palace. As the master of the Emperor's palace, this reward is nothing." No matter how precious the boat of destiny was, it was nothing in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. "Thank you, young master." Xia Bingyun bowed with joy. The Xia family had followed the right master. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website. Chapter 681. Everyone proceeded with their duties. Those who were supposed to cultivate in seclusion went into seclusion. Those who were supposed to search for fortunate encounters went into seclusion. After all, the entire boat of fortune was under Jun Xiaoyao's control. All kinds of ferocious beasts had already fallen under the previous heavenly tribulation. Yu and the others went on to search for fortunate encounters and cultivate in seclusion. Jun Xiaoyao had also obtained the origin energy of the world of fortune. Even though it's incomplete, it's still the rules left behind by the martial monarch. It's still useful as a reference. Once I've comprehended it, I can dismantle and refine it and merge it with my inner universe, Jun Xiaoyao murmured. This time, the inner universe had finally shown its true strength. It was only at the most basic stage, yet it was already strong enough to resist the rules left behind by the martial monarch. If he continued to build it, Jun Xiaoyao's strength would continue to grow as the inner universe grew stronger. In the end, if the inner universe was bigger than the nine heavens' immortal realm, wouldn't Jun Xiaoyao become a god of creation? Jun Xiaoyao saw a wide path that he had never seen before. There was a vast sky before him. That being said, it would take an unimaginable amount of time, effort, and energy to expand the inner universe to the size of the nine heavens' immortal realm. It seems like I'll have to look for opportunities to devour all kinds of energy, materials, and the origin energy of the world to speed up the evolution of the inner universe, Jun Xiaoyao pondered. He felt like he had turned into a koan. He had to keep devouring and evolving. While Jun Xiaoyao was immersed in his thoughts, a faint voice suddenly appeared. "Master!" Jun Xiaoyao collected his thoughts and glanced at the voice. It was Yu Chanwan. She did not go into seclusion to search for fortunate encounters like the others. She purposely stayed behind, as if she had something to say to Jun Xiaoyao. The woman in front of him had delicate brows and eyes. Her lips were red, and her teeth were white. She had an attractive face and Linglong's curvaceous body. Many men would fall for her combination. "What's wrong?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. "Chanwan just wants to thank young master. If it wasn't for young master's help, I might have." Yu Chanwan hesitated. When she thought of the possible consequences, she felt a lingering fear. There's no need for that. Even if it's for EU, I'll still do it, Jun Xiaoyao said calmly. When he had subdued EU, he had already promised him that he would help him deal with the Sun God Mountain. Now, he was merely collecting some interest. Later on, he still had to kill the remaining 5 crown princes with EU. Then, after completing the ancient ultimate road, he would go and deal with Sun God Mountain. No matter what, it was young master who saved Chanwan. However, Chanwan has nothing to repay him with. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to tell me. Chanwan will do her best to satisfy you. Toward the end, Yu Chanjuan's voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz. Her sparkling earlobes and jade neck were dyed with a moving layer of crimson. Her delicate head was also slightly lowered, as if she didn't dare to look at Jun Xiaoyao. Her words were very straightforward. It wasn't a hint, but a clear statement. The 10 princes of Jinwu and the others would never have thought that this woman with a strong personality who would rather die than submit. She actually showed such an attitude of letting another man do whatever he wanted. Of course, this wasn't because Yu Chanwan was degrading herself or giving up on herself. It was because she had no other choice. The Moon God Palace was destroyed. Except for the Tying Jade Hair, almost everyone by her side was dead. She alone couldn't deal with the 10 princes of Jinwu and the others, let alone deal with the Sun God Mountain. Therefore, she had to rely on someone. It was very helpless, but there was no other way. However, Yu Chanwan was also a proud woman. No matter how difficult it was, she wouldn't be reduced to kneeling to an ordinary man. However, things were different with Jun Xiaoyao. He had a handsome face, a detached personality, invincible strength, and a strong background. Such a man, not to mention the current Yu Chanwan, if it was before when she was still the holy maiden of the Moon God Palace, she would also be tempted. That was why Jun Xiaoyao was the best and only choice for her. Besides, Jun Xiaoyao had saved her and the Tying Jade Hair. But Jun Xiaoyao had no reason to take care of them again and again. Hearing Yu Chanjuan's words, Jun Xiaoyao wasn't surprised. Yu Chanwan was indeed very attractive. She had a fairy-like face, a devilish figure, and the physique of the world's best furnace. She also had a famous weapon that made men go crazy. It could be said that if it was any other man, they would not be able to resist this temptation. Not only could he experience the joy of the world, but he could also improve his strength. It was simply perfect. Moreover, a woman like Yu Chanwan could arouse the desire to conquer in a man's heart. Yu Chanwan, in your eyes, this son of God is this kind of person. Jun Xiaoyao smiled casually. Chanwan doesn't dare. Yu Chanwan hurriedly bowed. Actually, you are right. This son of God is indeed not a moralist. It is impossible to say that I am not interested in the holy body of Tying at all, Jun Xiaoyao said. This was nothing. It was normal. Jun Xiaoyao was not the kind of hypocritical moralist who kept talking about benevolence, righteousness, and morality. Jun Xiaoyao's words didn't make Yu Chanjuan's impression of him worse. Instead, it became better. This was because in the past, Yu Chanwan had encountered many people who appeared dignified on the surface, but were dirty and filthy on the inside. In contrast, Jun Xiaoyao's calmness made Yu Chanwan have a better impression of him. However, if I really did that, I would not be much different from the 10 princes of Jinwu. Jun Xiaoyao said, No, this has nothing to do with you. Chanwan is willing to do it. Yu Chanwan hurriedly retorted. Then, she realized her attitude and immediately blushed. Why did it feel like she was madly chasing after Jun Xiaoyao? Let's not talk about this now. I do need something from you, Jun Xiaoyao said with a smile. Yu Chanjuan's heart raced like a little deer. What did he need from her? The holy scripture of Tying, Jun Xiaoyao said. So it's this. Yu Chanwan didn't know why, but there was a trace of disappointment in her heart. The holy scripture of Tying was a secret of the Moon God Palace. However, now that the Moon God Palace was gone, there was no need to follow the rules. Jun Xiaoyao had saved her life, and a scroll of mystical scripture was nothing. Yu Chanwan directly handed the holy scripture of Tying to Jun Xiaoyao. All right, you should also go and cultivate. This son of God will not ignore the matter of the Sun God Mountain, Jun Xiaoyao said. Thank you, young master. Chanwan will take her leave. Yu Chanwan bowed and turned to leave. When she left, Yu Chanwan put her hand on her chest and murmured, "Young master, whether you are willing or not, Chanwan will always keep her first time for you." Yu Chanwan made up her mind. The first time of the Holy Scripture of Taiyin was extremely effective. Although with Jun Xiaoyao's status, he might not take a fancy to her and might not even have anything to do with her. However, whether he was willing or not was Jun Xiaoyao's business. Whether he wanted to keep it or not was Yu Chanjuan's business. She had already decided to follow Jun Xiaoyao for the rest of her life. Her everything, including her body, naturally belonged to Jun Xiaoyao. Chapter 682. Jun Xiaoyao was interested in the Taiyin immortal scripture. It was because he had an idea in mind. In his inner universe, yin and yang needed to change, as well as the sun and moon. Once he had comprehended the Taiyin immortal scripture, he would obtain the Taiyang immortal scripture from the 10 princes of Jinwu. That way, he would be able to master the power of yin and yang, allowing the sun and moon to change in his inner universe, accelerating its transformation. Jun Xiaoyao even had the ambition to integrate the power of yin and yang, the power of reincarnation, the power of creation, the power of chaos, and other supreme powers into his inner universe in the future. At that time, the inner universe would expand at an accelerated rate, and energy would erupt, causing Jun Xiaoyao's strength to skyrocket. Of course, this was just an idea. Whether it was the power of yin and yang, the power of reincarnation, the power of creation, or the power of chaos, they were all extremely rare energies. Jun Xiaoyao had only begun to control the power of reincarnation and the power of creation. After this, he would pay more attention to collect all kinds of energy to fill his inner universe. I'll go into seclusion in the abode of destiny first, and comprehend and refine the world's origin left behind by the great emperor. Jun Xiaoyao entered the depths of the core area and began to cultivate in seclusion. At the same time, all kinds of things that happened in the abode of destiny began to spread like wildfire. 5 of the 10 golden crow-crowned princes, 2 holy sons of the Guilin sect, Yuan's silkworm Taoist of the celestial Silkworm Valley, and the 4 heavenly kings of the Xianting had all died in the abode of destiny. This was definitely a major event that was enough to shake the entire ancient road. The 10 golden crow-crowned princes were famous throughout the ancient road, and they were known not to be provoked. Provoking one of them was equivalent to provoking 10 outlawed sky prides. Now, half of them had died in the abode of destiny. As an ancient sect with a long history, the Guilin sect worshipped the mythical great emperor, the true lord of Guilin. The 8 holy sons of the Guilin sect were also famous. In the end, 4 of them died because of Jun Xiaoyao. Yuan's silkworm Taoist of the celestial Silkworm Valley. Although he was not as strong as the first 2, he was also a top-notch sky pride of the celestial Silkworm Valley. Not to mention that the celestial Silkworm Valley had produced an invincible 9 transformations, celestial silkworm. In the end, Xianting was needless to say. The 4 little heavenly kings were the strongest young geniuses in the Xianting, excluding the successors of the immortal orthodoxies. In the end, the 4 of them attacked together. Even with the suppression of the Ark of Good Fortune's laws, they were unable to harm Jun Xiaoyao at all. Instead, they were killed. This was enough to make countless people stupefied, and it would spread throughout the entire ancient path. Then, someone spread the news. The Boat of Fortune was originally a trap set up by Gu Tizi, the successor of Fuxi immortal lineage in the Xianting, for Jun Xiaoyao. In the end, he suffered a double loss. The 4 little heavenly kings had fallen, and the Boat of Good Fortune, which contained endless opportunities, had been given to Jun Xiaoyao for nothing. Gu Tizi of Fuxi immortal system became a laughingstock. A dignified descendant of an immortal orthodoxy actually suffered such a huge loss. It was enough to make him a laughingstock. Moreover, this also indirectly revealed that Gu Tizi was one of the 7 rebellious emperors. TSK, I didn't expect the successor of Xianting to be one of the 7 rebellious emperors. Could it be that even God knows that the Jun family once had a conflict with the Xianting? Some of the old antiques were deep in thought. Some of them vaguely knew the secret. A long time ago, the Jun family had the ambition to replace the Xianting. And this era of great conflict was undoubtedly the most important time point. The Xianting and the Jun family were definitely in a fierce struggle. To a certain extent, the struggle between the successor of Xianting and Jun Xiaoyao was also a struggle between the Xianting and the Jun family. But isn't this a bit unfair? The Xianting has more than one immortal orthodoxy, but the Jun family only has one son of God. When the time comes, if the successors of various immortal orthodoxies join forces to deal with the son of God of the Jun family, even the son of God won't have it easy. Now that it's confirmed that Gu Tizi of Fuxi immortal orthodoxy is one of the 7 rebellious emperors, I wonder if the princess of emperors was immortal orthodoxy is another one. Many people were speculating, but one thing was certain. The following ancient road of ultimate would be even more turbulent, with undercurrents surging. In the depths of the ancient road of ultimate, on an ancient planet. In the depths of the ancient planet, there was a powerful young figure sitting cross-legged. Tens of thousands of feet deep underground, the pressure of the earth and the blazing power of the earth's core were enough to threaten a saint. But this young figure was sitting cross-legged peacefully and was even absorbing the power of the exploding earth's core. As the successor of Fuxi immortal orthodoxy, Gu Tizi's lousy move is a disgrace to the Xianting. The young man's tone was extremely cold, and he didn't seem to have much respect for Gu Tizi. But Gu Tizi is one of the 7 rebellious emperors. It seems that even the heavens approve of him. But it doesn't matter. In this generation, the successors of the Xianting's 9 immortal orthodoxies all have a chance to compete for the position of the Xianting's young emperor. As the successor of Xingtian immortal orthodoxy, how can I be weak? The young figure's eyes were burning with ambition. Meanwhile, on another ancient planet in the depths of the ancient road of ultimate, an immortal spirit's seaside overflowing with spiritual energy. A hazy silhouette in a flowery silk dress was cultivating. Around her, a shocking scene of thousands of birds bowing to her appeared. Gu Tizi has taken a tumble this time. I wonder how he will deal with it. There's also Sister Ling Yan. She decisively rejected the marriage with Gu Tizi, but it seems like she's going to marry her off to Gu Tizi. And that son of God of the Jun clan. He's so impressive. I really want to see what kind of peerless figure he is. But it's really troublesome to make an enemy out of someone like him. The figure's voice was as crisp and pleasant as a lark's. However, it was just chattering. She seemed a little talkative. As the successor of the Jingwei immortal orthodoxy, I, Wei Qianqian, must work hard too. The Xingtian immortal orthodoxy and the Jingwei immortal orthodoxy were not the only ones. The successors of the other immortal orthodoxies had different reactions. At its peak, the 9 immortal orthodoxies of the Xianting controlled the 9 heavens' immortal realms. Each immortal realm was controlled by a single immortal orthodoxy. However, the 9 immortal orthodoxies had split up after the Xianting's collapse. They had yet to reunite even now. In an ancient heavenly palace in the depths of the ancient road of ultimate, a figure with a terrifying aura was sitting with his legs crossed in a boundless light. Behind him, the runes of the 8 trigrams appeared as if they were manipulating the fortune of the heavens and earth. He was a successor of the Fuxi immortal orthodoxy, Gu Tizi. Gu Tizi did not lose his temper after learning about the death of the 4 heavenly kings. Instead, he wore a dark expression. Only a pair of deep eyes could be seen in the hazy light. The runes of the 8 trigrams flickered occasionally. I've indeed taken the wrong step. I already thought highly of Jun Xiaoyao, but I still underestimated him. I'm afraid the successors of the other immortal orthodoxies are laughing at me now, Gu Tizi said with a cold grin. Among the Xianting, there was a competition for the position of the young emperor of the Xianting. The successors of the 9 immortal orthodoxies were all competitors. Meanwhile, 8 wisps of immortal qi suddenly appeared on the surface of Gu Tizi's body. It was so shocking that it would shock everyone if word got out. Gu Tizi had already cultivated 5 wisps of immortal qi before. After merging with the Emperor seal of the 7 defiant sovereigns, he had 7 wisps of immortal chi. After receiving the inheritance of the great emperor, he cultivated until now and gained another wisp of immortal chi. Gu Tizi was very confident that he could cultivate 9 wisps of immortal chi in the future. 9 wisps of immortal chi. Not many people had achieved it since ancient times. However, he had a high chance of achieving it. When I cultivate 9 wisps of immortal chi and reach the extreme number of 9, I'll make everyone understand. Jun Xiaoyao is just an ant in front of me. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /book/5975/. Chapter 683. Gu Tizi's Tao heart was close to perfection. He wouldn't be shaken by such a small setback. Right, sent a message to Ling Yan. Gu Tizi took out a jade slip as if he'd thought of something. In next to no time, a clear and cold female voice that was pleasant like the sound of nature sounded out from the jade slip. Gu Tizi, congratulations. You've made a name for yourself on the ancient road. Gu Tizi chuckled. Yuan, you're still as merciless as ever. Don't use such intimate words to address me. Don't forget, you and I are also competitors for the position of Xian Ting's young emperor, Ling Yan said coldly. Looks like you're not surprised by my failure. Gu Tizi didn't mind Ling Yan's tone. That Jun Xiaoyao was able to kill a half-step supreme saint before, and he was even able to withstand 3 moves from the Saint Lord. Even with the Boat of Fortune, it would be difficult for those 4 good-for-nothings to succeed, Ling Yuan said calmly. The 4 little heavenly kings were just trash in Ling Yan's eyes. Ling Yan, you know that Jun Xiaoyao isn't easy to deal with. I've long suggested that immortal lineage Fuxi and immortal lineage Empress will unite by marriage. Ling Yan interrupted Gu Tizi before he could finish. No need to say more. Haven't we already made a decision? I'll marry Fairy Yuan to you, Ling Yan said. Gu Tizi took a deep breath and calmed down. Ling Yan, you should know that our union is the joint will of immortal lineage Fuxi and immortal lineage Empress Hua. When the time comes, our 2 immortal heritages will be able to suppress the other immortal heritages and reorganize the Xian Ting to become the ruling immortal heritages. That's right. That's why this consort took a step back and allowed Fairy Yuan to marry you. Otherwise, do you think this consort would be willing to give her to you? Ling Yan said indifferently. If Jun Xiaoyao were here, he would definitely be surprised. His guess was that the person in charge of the heavenly maiden Yuan destiny was none other than Princess Ling Yan of Empress Hua's lineage. Ling Yan, Fairy Kite. The relationship between the 2 of them was worth pondering. All right then, once I succeed in my cultivation, I will marry Fairy Maiden Yuan, Gu Tizi said. On the other side, Ling Yan directly cut off the call. The smile on Gu Tizi's face disappeared. His face was expressionless. Heavenly Maiden Yuan has a part of the power of Empress Hua's saintly body. If my Fuxi saintly body absorbs it, it will help me succeed. When the time comes, Ling Yan, this consort son will conquer you. As the princess of Empress Hua's lineage, Ling Yan possessed the saintly body of Empress Hua. Her identity, appearance, status, and strength were the noblest in the 9 heavens immortal realm. It was the glory of a man to conquer a woman like her. As for Fairy Yuan, she was only Ling Yan's shadow. The incident regarding the Boat of Fortune spread like wildfire on the ancient road of ultimate. Apart from the successors of the Xian Ting, the news spread like wildfire. The saints of the Guilin cult received the news as well. Each and every one of them felt indignant and wanted Jun Xiaoyao to pay the price. However, Sheng Tianyi, the strongest among the saints of the 8 sacred factions, did not say anything. However, many people assumed Sheng Tianyi would not ignore the matter. After all, it was related to the reputation of the Guilin sect. As for the celestial Silkworm Valley, it was quiet. On the other hand, the 10 princes of Jinwu of the Sun God Mountain declared that they would kill Jun Xiaoyao with their own hands. Their enemies were not the only ones who heard the news. Some of the people who were related to Jun Xiaoyao also heard the news. In a certain ancient land of opportunity, a tall and slender figure was strolling leisurely with his hands behind his back. Chaotic light burst out of his eyes as he blinked. It was extremely terrifying, as if he was going to split the sky and earth. The June family's man of Polychoria is too powerful. Yeah, as expected of the June family's sequence number 1. If it weren't for the June family son of God, the June family's man of Polychoria would shine brightly. Many sky prides around him were shocked. This handsome man was the June family's sequence number 1, the man of Polychoria, June Lingsong. He was already an outlawed sky pride when he stepped on the ancient road and leaped through the dragon's gate. Now, his cultivation was even more unfathomable. Ordinary taboos could not resist him. There was even a saying on the ancient road of ultimate that the June family's 3 overlords. The 3 overlords referred to the June family son of God, June Xiaoyao, sequence number 1, June Lingsong, and the ancient freak, June Ma Xiao. Cousin Xiaoyao has caused quite a commotion. As his cousin, I can't fall behind. June Lingsong smiled faintly. June Xiaoyao had made quite a number of enemies. Although he was not afraid of anything, it was troublesome to have too many flies. As a member of the June family, June Lingsong naturally could not stay out of it. When it was time for him to make a move, he would not hesitate. In the depths of the ancient road of ultimate, on the battlefield of an ancient planet, a young and handsome figure was casually walking on the battlefield. He held the Tianji umbrella in one hand and a wine gourd in the other. He drank from it from time to time. Divine light surged on the surface of his body. Behind him, golden chi soared into the sky and condensed into a golden canopy above his head. It was a display of imperial power. This was the Emperor's imperial canopy, the Emperor's imperial canopy. The identity of this person was obvious. It was the June family's ancient freak, June Ma Xiao, who lay drunk on the battlefield. I didn't expect the Xian Ting to make a move on Xiaoyao before the June family has made a move. Although June Ma Xiao's expression was lazy, there was a sharp light in his eyes. Although the 9 great immortal heritages of the Xian Ting all have forbidden successors, Xiaoyao is not the only one in the June family. Everyone believed that the 9 great immortal heritages of the Xian Ting all had forbidden successors. No matter how strong June Xiaoyao was, it would be difficult for him to deal with them alone. However, one should not forget that June Xiaoyao was not the only one in the June family. June Ma Xiao, June Lingsong, and the other sequences were not weak. If there was a conflict, it would not be June Xiaoyao's battle alone. They would also stand by June Xiaoyao's side. This was a battle between the successors of the immortal heritages and the sequences of the June family. On an ancient planet on the ancient road, by the shore of a spiritual lake, a dainty and beautiful girl was currently cultivating. She had bright eyes and white teeth. She was delicate and charming. Her pink face was sparkling, and her hair was tied into 2 ponytails. She looked like a jade carving. It was Jiang Luoli. Compared to before, Jiang Luoli did not change much except for her height. Her eyes were more quiet and reserved, and she was slightly more mature. Everyone would grow up. In a cruel place like the ancient road of ultimate, Jiang Luoli did not rely on external objects or the help of the Jiang family. Instead, she was cultivating alone. Her primordial spirit, Taoist body had been developed to the extreme. She was constantly breathing in and out a huge amount of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, like a walking, immortal marrow mine. Compared to before, Jiang Luoli's eyes were more stable now. Luoli will not. I will only stand behind Big Brother Xiaoyao and look at his back. Luoli will also grow up and become Big Brother Xiaoyao's good wife. I will not be weaker than Big Sister Xingyi. Jiang Luoli clenched her fists. She was very determined. After the incident with the divine fetus, Jiang Luoli also understood how deep Jiang Xingyi's feelings for June Xiaoyao were. If she asked Jiang Xingyi to leave June Xiaoyao again, even Jiang Luoli would feel that it was very selfish. However, a girl's heart was still jealous. She did not want June Xiaoyao to ignore her existence. Even if my legs are short, as long as I run fast, I can catch up with Big Brother Xiaoyao. Jiang Luoli raised her small face. Her starry eyes were resolute. She had transformed into a high-spirited girl. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /book/5975/. Chapter 684. In the depths of the ancient road, on a battlefield filled with spirit chi, hundreds and thousands of prodigies were fighting over a great Tao spirit root. This spirit root revealed itself from a crack in the ground, emitting thousands of rays of light. Tao sounds rumbled, and laws of order intertwined. One could imagine that this was definitely an extraordinary item. If one refined it, they would have a great affinity with the Tao. It could even give people the feeling that it could transform into the Tao. This great Tao spirit root is mine. Dream on. No one is going to fight with me for it. Shouts and yells could be heard everywhere. Amidst this chaos, a beautiful figure in a snow-white robe flew over like a fairy. She looked ethereal, and Tao sounds rumbled. As the beautiful figure moved, flowers fell from the sky, and lotuses bloomed with every step. The divine lady of the Jiang family is here. Someone suddenly shouted. The entire noisy battlefield seemed to have calmed down. Many male prodigies couldn't help but look over with a hint of amazement and infatuation in their eyes. The divine lady of the Jiang family, Jiang Shengyi, who had a connate Tao embryo, was definitely one of the most stunning goddesses on the ancient road. At that moment, although Jiang Shengyi was surrounded by divine radiance, one could vaguely see her true appearance. Her face was like a painting, her eyebrows were curved, and her eyes were like limpid autumn waters. Her snow-white hair danced in the wind, and her robe fluttered. She looked like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Her pure white body was tall and slender, and her curves were perfect under the snow-white robe. She had an otherworldly and beautiful aura, like a snow lotus on top of a mountain, untainted by dust. Everyone, this great Tao spirit root is very useful to Shengyi. I'm sorry. Jiang Shengyi spoke, and her voice was like an aureole flying out of a valley, moving people's hearts. No, it's just a great Tao spirit root. Just give it to Fairy Shengyi. That's right. I'll beat up whoever dares to fight with the divine lady of the Jiang family. With just a single sentence, a group of bootlickers came over to lick his boots. It couldn't be helped. Men naturally like to show off in front of women, especially goddesses. Although many people knew that Jiang Shengyi had long been in love with Jun Xiaoyao, they still had to show it when it was time. Thank you, everyone. Jiang Shengyi smiled calmly. Of course, it would be best if they could avoid using force. With her current strength, there was nothing for her to fear. However, just as Jiang Shengyi was about to harvest the great Tao spiritual root, suddenly, two silhouettes rushed out from the dense crowd. They unleashed terrifying moves, both of which were extremely powerful killing moves. After following me for so long, you finally can't help but make a move? Jiang Shengyi wasn't surprised. With a flick of her hand, hundreds and thousands of divine chains of the grand Tao emerged and interweaved with each other, and they densely covered the surroundings like a spiderweb. Rumble. A huge explosion occurred here, and all kinds of magical power of runes poured out in torrents. How could this be? Who attacked the divine daughter of the Jiang clan? Some of the geniuses couldn't help but exclaim. Surrender. One of the two figures spoke, bringing out a moonfall bell, wishing to suppress Jiang Shengyi within. Celestial murder blade. The other figure brought out a sharp blade with dazzling starlight, carrying with it an aura that could cut down all the stars in the sky. You are the 13 bandits of the ancient road. Jiang Shengyi's eyes were cold. She also knew that the 13 bandits of the ancient road loved to rob geniuses of their bloodlines. However, she didn't expect that the 13 bandits would dare to target her. However, on second thought, the innate Taoist embryo was indeed very attractive. As long as our boss can refine your innate Taoist embryo, then suppress Jun Xiaoyao and devour his sacred body of the ancients. When that time comes, no one will be a match for our boss. These two were the moon-chopping bandit and the star-destroying bandit of the 13 bandits. Although the 13 bandits had already made a preliminary plan to deal with Jiang Shengyi before. However, Tarantula and the others were still in the midst of planning. The two of them couldn't wait any longer. Jun Xiaoyao had already killed 7 of the 13 bandits. This made the moon-chopping bandit and the star-destroying bandit full of anger. They also learned about the relationship between Jiang Xingyi and Jun Xiaoyao. Therefore, they couldn't help but want to directly attack. Jiang Xingyi didn't care before, but when she heard that they were going to rob Jun Xiaoyao of his sacred body of the ancients, she became furious. An extremely cold and murderous aura flowed out from Jiang Xingyi's eyes. Her temperament changed instantly, as if she had turned from a transcendent female immortal into a murderous immortal. How dare you plot against Xiaoyao? You are unforgivable. Jiang Xingyi activated the innate Taoist embryo, and endless divine chains of the Great Path appeared around her, piercing through the void. At the same time, a faint shadow of a female immortal could be seen between her eyebrows, emitting a hazy glow. Everyone on the battlefield was stunned. It was the first time they saw such a cold, murderous aura from this beautiful fairy. Is it because of the son of God of the Jun family? For some reason, when they thought of this, many male geniuses felt jealous. In their hearts, the goddess they admired and were obsessed with was worried about the safety of another man. How is this possible? You're hiding it. Seeing Jiang Shengyi's cultivation aura, the moon-chopping bandit and the star-destroying bandit were in disbelief. This was completely different from the information they had received. At this moment, Jiang Shengyi stood on the clouds, her black hair and dress fluttering in the wind. She was obviously a peerless beauty, but at this moment, her temperament was like a murderous immortal, terrifying everyone. Cage of the Great Path, Blade of Cutting Tao. Jiang Xingyi's Taoist techniques were unparalleled. Many divine chains of the Great Path intertwined and formed a cage, trapping the moon-chopping bandit and the star-destroying bandit in it. Then, Taoist inscriptions appeared and condensed into a blade of cutting Tao, which swept towards the two. Slash! Their paths were completely shattered, which also meant that their vitality was extinguished. Boss won't let you go, the moon-chopping bandit said with difficulty, his eyes bulging. The two bandits were dead. Seeing this scene, everyone around felt a chill in their hearts. This was not because the moon-chopping bandit and the star-destroying bandit were weak, but because Jiang Xingyi was too strong. The goddess of the Jiang family has mastered the use of the connate Taoist embryo. Previously, some people said that Jiang Xingyi was just a flower vase by the son of God of the Jun family. Now it seems that they were wrong. I think the goddess of the Jiang family is comparable to the princess of Xianting and the others. Jiang Xingyi's performance amazed everyone. After obtaining the spiritual root of the Great Path, Jiang Xingyi left alone, leaving behind a sea of stunned gazes. After refining this spiritual root of the Great Path, the power of my connate Taoist embryo will be further strengthened, Jiang Xingyi murmured. There was a ring on her finger. At this moment, the ring was emitting light. A hazy fairy figure appeared beside Jiang Xingyi. It was a mature woman in a fairy dress. Master, why did you come out? Jiang Xingyi asked. She had once found a ring in a place of opportunity. The ring contained this woman's remnant soul. This woman was the female leader of an ancient sacred ground. Her strength was unparalleled. What was even more coincidental was that the sect master was also a connate Taoist embryo. Therefore, during this period of time, Jiang Xingyi had become stronger and stronger, not only because of her own opportunities, but also because of the female leader's guidance. They were now master and disciple. Who is Jun Xiaoyao? Why do you have such a big reaction after hearing his name? The beautiful female leader smiled faintly. Her face was full of gossip. It's my... Jiang Xingyi couldn't find the words for a moment. Her cheeks turned slightly red. Looking at Jiang Xingyi, who rarely revealed her feminine side, the beautiful female leader had a playful and teasing look on her face. It can't be your man, right? Jiang Xingyi's face turned even more fiery when she heard this. Master, what are you saying? Looking at the beautiful Jiang Xingyi, who seemed to be angry and shy at the same time, the beautiful female leader sighed in her heart. She had always observed Jiang Xingyi's behavior. She was calm and composed, neither arrogant nor impatient. She was mature and knowledgeable. But now, she was showing the rare side of a woman in love. This surprised the female leader. Jiang Xingyi's eyelashes were thick and long. She looked into the distance, exhaled softly, and said word by word, "He is the most important person in your disciple's heart. That's why your disciple must become stronger so that I can walk to his side and not let him be alone." Seeing Jiang Xingyi's expression suddenly become incomparably serious, the beautiful female leader sighed inwardly. Just what kind of peerless and extraordinary man could make this outstanding disciple of hers be so worried and willing to sacrifice herself for him? For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /books/5975/. Chapter 685. Time passed, and another half a year passed in the blink of an eye. During this half a year, Jun Xiaoyao had been in the depths of the boat of fate, comprehending the world's origin left behind by the great emperor. This was an extremely complicated task. The world's origin law constructed by the great emperor was extremely complex. It was simply wishful thinking for a saint to figure it out. However, Jun Xiaoyao was different. His comprehension ability could be described as monstrous. Ordinary saints might not be able to comprehend even 1/10,000th of this origin even after 100 years. However, Jun Xiaoyao completely comprehended it in just half a year. Then, Jun Xiaoyao began to dismantle this world's origin and smelt it into his own inner universe. This did not mean that Jun Xiaoyao incorporated the laws of the mystic realm into his inner universe. Instead, he used this origin as nourishment to nourish his inner universe. It was like putting firewood into a stove. The fire grew stronger and stronger, but the firewood turned into ashes. At a certain moment, Jun Xiaoyao's body shook. He had completely refined this vast world of fortune's world's origin. In an instant, his inner universe began to expand violently again and continued to expand. Jun Xiaoyao also felt that his aura was somewhat difficult to suppress. "It's time to break through," Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Just as he was about to break through, there was suddenly a strange movement in Jun Xiaoyao's spatial instrument. Jun Xiaoyao frowned and took out one of the items. It was a transparent bottle. In the bottle, there were 5 or 6 drops of blood with a golden glow. It was the essence blood of the sacred body of the ancients. Upon closer inspection, one would find that there were traces of dark red spreading in the essence blood of the sacred body of the ancients. This was not a good sign. Could it be? Could it be? Jun Xiaoyao thought of a certain possibility, and his face darkened slightly. Something must have happened to the owner of the essence blood of the sacred body of the ancients. Although it was not to the extent of death, the situation was not good. It was likely that he was about to reach a dead end. The sacred palace of the ancients, the Conqueror Star. Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. He had originally planned to slowly explore these secrets as he ventured deeper into the ancient path. It seemed like he didn't have much time left. If he delayed any longer, it would be too late. This matter definitely has something to do with the Song clan of the Conqueror Star. "Looks like we have no choice but to set off now," Jun Xiaoyao said as he shook his head. He once again suppressed the signs of a breakthrough. Of course, this was not a bad thing. The deeper the accumulation, the fiercer the breakthrough. Furthermore, Jun Xiaoyao vaguely felt that if he could find the desolate ancient temple, it would be even more helpful to his breakthrough. Furthermore, his sacred body of the ancients might also undergo a great transformation. Thinking of this, Jun Xiaoyao no longer hesitated and directly came out of seclusion. The moment Jun Xiaoyao came out of seclusion, Yu and the others had already sensed his fluctuations. One by one, they all arrived. Yu Chanwan, Taiyin Jade Hair, Yen Rumeng, Xia Bingyun, and Feng Xiran were all here. "Master, Son of God," everyone cupped their fists at Jun Xiaoyao. "I'm going deeper into the ancient final road. What do you all plan to do?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. With his strength, it was naturally no problem for him to lead this group of people. Yen Rumeng first took a deep look at Jun Xiaoyao, then sighed and said, "I think I'd better go alone. I feel like I'm enjoying the scenery when I'm by your side." Hearing this, everyone felt the same way. Jun Xiaoyao gave them a great sense of security. They didn't have to worry about any danger when they were by his side. One word: steady. Yin Rumeng was also a little greedy for this sense of security, and she didn't really want to leave Jun Xiaoyao's side. However, if she stayed by Jun Xiaoyao's side, she wouldn't be able to gain any experience at all, and the ancient final road would be useless. Yin Rumeng had already awakened the Sky Dream butterfly bloodline. She needed more experience. Jun Xiaoyao nodded and said, "Sure, as you wish." Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's calm appearance, Yin Rumeng didn't know why, but she felt a little angry. Why wasn't he even a little reluctant to let her go? Yu said, "Master, I also want to go alone." Now that the knot in his heart had been untied, and Yu's strength had increased dramatically, he was even more confident. Yu Chanwan said, "I want to stay in the boat of destiny and cultivate." She was also embarrassed to stay by Jun Xiaoyao's side. Tying Jade Hair said, I want to follow Master and help Master stroke me every day." "No, I want to stroke Master every day." No, I want to be stroked by Master every day." She wasn't interested in the ancient final road. As long as she could be stroked by Jun Xiaoyao every day and eat carrots, she would be happy enough. Xia Bingyun said considerately, "I still have to manage the boat of destiny. I won't be a burden to Master." In the end, only Tying Jade Hair stayed by Jun Xiaoyao's side like a pet. The others all had their own matters to attend to. "Everyone, we'll meet again at the end of the ancient final road." Jun Xiaoyao bade farewell and left the boat of destiny with his hands behind his back. Yin Rumeng, Yu Chanwan, Xia Bingyun, and one of the 4 forbidden Dao children, Yu Bishuan, all stared at Jun Xiaoyao's back until he completely disappeared. He doesn't even have the slightest bit of reluctance. Yin Rumeng stomped her foot. She seemed dissatisfied, but there was reluctance in her eyes. Xia Bingyun said, "Master still has important matters to attend to. How can we be a burden to him?" The girls were all reluctant to part. Yu sighed as he watched from the side. Master's strength wasn't just in cultivation. The ancient road of destiny was endless. For some prodigies, stepping on this road was equivalent to taking a step into the Yellow Springs. If they weren't careful, they might fall into the Yellow Springs. But for a small number of forbidden Dao children, this ancient ultimate road was nothing more than a fleeting view of the scenery. They could also trample a group of ants under their feet. For Jun Xiaoyao, the meaning of the ancient road of destiny was walking around casually, slapping faces casually, killing people casually. That was all. Jun Xiaoyao set off from the chaotic astral ocean again. He steered the starry sky flying ship and continued forward. Along the way, he also encountered some teleportation formations. He directly teleported forward to save time. In the blink of an eye, another half a year passed. In this half a year, Jun Xiaoyao also encountered various situations, but they were all resolved by him. Finally, Jun Xiaoyao arrived at the 70th level of the ancient road of destiny. In this level, in addition to a huge ancient city floating in the universe, there were also 2 ancient planets. Conqueror Star, desolate planets. Jun Xiaoyao stood on the deck of the starry sky flying ship, and the Tying Jade Hair squatted on his shoulder. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the 2 planets in the distance, but his brows were tightly furrowed, because he sensed it. The energy fields of these 2 stars were completely different. They were as different as heaven and earth. The planet that was faintly shrouded in purple energy was rich and full of spirit chi. All kinds of natural Tao laws and divine chains of order intertwined, looking extremely prosperous. The other planet was like a desert. There was no spirit chi at all, and it was extremely barren like a desert. The 2 ancient planets were like a rich family and a beggar on the street. There was no comparison at all. If Jun Xiaoyao guessed correctly, the prosperous planet shrouded in purple energy should be the Conqueror Star, and the desert-like planet that was close to a dead planet was the Desolate Star. This made Jun Xiaoyao's eyes very cold, and at the same time, he was puzzled. What exactly had happened to cause such an unforeseen event? Just as Jun Xiaoyao was thinking, the system's mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The new check-in location has been refreshed. Please sign in at the desolate ancient temple. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /books/5975/. Chapter 686. A new check-in location. Jun Xiaoyao was not surprised. He was also very curious about what good things he could get in the sacred palace of the ancients. Let's go to that ancient city first and find out what's going on. After Jun Xiaoyao made up his mind, he rushed toward the huge ancient city floating in the universe. The ancient city was very magnificent. It was located in the starry sky of the universe. It was simple and grand, exuding a desolate aura. It was the ancient city of the 70th level of the ancient road. At first glance, it looked like a wild giant lying in the galaxy. Jun Xiaoyao came to the ancient city. He attracted a lot of attention before he even entered the city. Who is that person? He's covered in celestial light and has an extraordinary aura. A genius exclaimed, "Oh my God, why does he look like the rumored son of God of the Jun family?" What? The son of God of the Jun family is here? He has the sacred body of the ancients. Is he here for... With Jun Xiaoyao's arrival, the ancient city was in an uproar. There was a lot of noise in the ancient city. Countless eyes looked at Jun Xiaoyao, who stepped into the city gate. Their eyes were filled with surprise, curiosity, fear, and other emotions. Some people even thought of the Conqueror Star and the Desolate Star. They guessed that the son of God of the Jun family was here for something else. In the ancient city, the roads were wide. There were not many cultivators, but there were still a lot of them. In fact, it was very difficult to make it to the 70th level of the ancient road. Other than the natives of the ancient road, the cultivators who could make it here were all elites. Even so, as proud and arrogant as they were, they couldn't help but feel a sense of inferiority when they saw Jun Xiaoyao's transcendent figure. Jun Xiaoyao and them seemed to be in a different world. "Sir, they are all looking at us," the tying jade hair said, blinking her big eyes. She had turned into a human. Her silver hair fell to her waist. Her big eyes were as clear and bright as rubies, and her small face was delicate. The two fluffy, snow-white rabbit ears on her head drooped down, which made her look even cuter. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and said nothing. Suddenly, he stopped and looked at the void in front of him. A middle-aged man in golden armor with a powerful aura suddenly appeared. "It's the Enforcer," many Sky Prides exclaimed in surprise before cupping their fists respectfully. The enforcers of the ancient road of the ultimate path were the ones who maintained the order of the ancient road. At the very least, their cultivation bases were at the supremacy level. It could be said that without their existence, the ancient road would be even more chaotic. Countless geniuses would be assassinated and oppressed. They were in charge of maintaining order on the ancient road, preventing those experts from attacking the younger generation. Because of this, their statuses were quite high, and the chosen of the ancient road treated them with great respect. This middle-aged man in golden armor was called Tuoba Zhan. When he had nothing to do, he would stay in one of the cities on the 70 stages of the ancient road. At this moment, when he saw Jun Xiaoyao, Tuoba Zhan's eyes flashed with excitement and intimacy. He descended from the sky and arrived in front of Jun Xiaoyao. He cupped his hands and said, "Tuoba Zhan greets the Son of God." The surrounding Sky Prides were taken aback by his attitude. Jun Xiaoyao's status was so high that even the enforcers of the ancient road had to treat him with caution. But there was no need to be so respectful, right? After all, supremacy experts were all proud of their status. Not to mention the others. Even Jun Xiaoyao himself was a bit confused. His status was high, but the enforcers of the ancient road were also supremacy experts. It was enough for them to treat him as an equal. But now, he could clearly feel the warmth and reverence in Tuoba Zhan's expression. However, that reverence didn't seem to be all for Jun Xiaoyao. As if sensing the confusion in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes, Tuoba Zhan cupped his fists and smiled. "Son of God, you might not know this, but long ago I was fortunate enough to receive some guidance from the sixth patriarch of the Jun family, Jun Taixian. You could say that without the sixth patriarch's guidance, I would never have become a supremacy." Tuoba Jean's eyes were full of reverence as he spoke. He would never forget that when he was young, he happened to see the corpse of an ancient winged dragon floating in the void, pulling a pitch-black coffin. That was his luck, and also a great opportunity in his life, which changed the trajectory of his life. Oh, I see. Jun Xiaoyao came to a realization. He had heard that during the Battle of Immortality, the vast sword light that fell from the sky came from the sixth patriarch of the Jun family, Jun Taixian, who was floating in the endless starry sky. He was a quasi-emperor expert, and this patriarch was very strange. He slept in a pitch-black coffin, pulled by the corpse of a winged dragon, and drifted in the endless universe. He would occasionally wake up and then go back to sleep. Obviously, Tuoba Jean was a lucky person who had received some guidance from Jun Taixian. That was why he showed such a sense of reverence and intimacy. Son of God, if you don't mind, let me hold a banquet to welcome you. Tuoba Jean smiled. After receiving guidance from the sixth patriarch, Jun Xiaoyao, he already regarded himself as half a member of the Jun family. Naturally, he would give special treatment to Jun Xiaoyao. Thank you. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. Since he had such a loyal enforcer, it would be much more convenient for him to do whatever he wanted. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao being received by Tuoba Jean, many sky prides in the entire ancient city sighed. I guess only the son of God of the Jun family would be treated so respectfully by the enforcer. Yes, but I'm afraid the son of God came here with a purpose. Are you talking about the Overlord? Many people could not help but tremble at the mention of this name. The Overlord was definitely the most terrifying supreme outlawed sky pride on the ancient road. If there were any physiques that could be compared to the sacred body of the ancients in terms of physical strength and close combat, there were only a few physiques like the tyrant body of the heavens and the chaotic divine body. Among them, the tyrant body of the heavens was the most talked about and was often compared to the sacred body of the ancients. This was because the two physiques were natural opposites. However, in some of the previous battles, the sacred body of the ancients did not have a high chance of winning against the tyrant body of the heavens. It was about 20 to 80. The reason why the sacred body of the ancients had such a low chance of winning was largely due to the restrictions of heaven and earth. The 10 shackles of heaven shackled the sacred body of the ancients, making it extremely difficult to cultivate. In recent times, there was no one who broke the 10 shackles of the complete sacred body of the ancients. This was the reason why the sacred body of the ancients was weak. However, the tyrant body of the heavens did not have such restrictions and could fully unleash one's talents and potential. In the ancient city, many people thought that they would be able to watch a good show in a luxurious pavilion. Jun Xiaoyao, the Tying Jade Hare, and Tuoba Jean were sitting around a banquet. The Tying Jade Hare was munching on various spiritual fruits and carrots. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Tuoba Jean and said, "Senior, you should know that I didn't come to the 70th level just because I was passing by." After hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, Tuoba Jean nodded and said, "I understand. It's because of the Tsang family of the Conquer Star." Chapter 687. It seems that you know why I'm here. Jun Xiaoyao picked up his teacup and took a sip. Of course, the Son of God has the sacred body of the ancients, which is the archenemy of the tyrant body of the firmament. How could it not be here? Tuoba Jean said. Then, do you know why the Conqueror Star and the Desolate Star are in such a state? Jun Xiaoyao asked. He had been wondering why the Desolate Star had become like this. Actually, I don't know much. I only heard that a powerful sacred body of the ancients was killed by the tyrant body of the firmament. His blood stained the starry sky, Tuoba Jean said. Is that so? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were filled with surprise. It seemed that in the past battles between the sacred body and the tyrant body, the sacred body had never had the upper hand. In fact, the sacred body of the ancients was at a disadvantage. That ancient sacred body of the ancients was very powerful. I heard that it seemed to have broken the limit. Although it didn't completely sever all 10 shackles, it broke 7 shackles and was very powerful. Logically speaking, even if he couldn't beat the tyrant body, he shouldn't have been killed. However, this is a mystery and no one knows the reason, Tuoba Jean said. Jun Xiaoyao appeared to be deep in thought. The sacred body of the ancients was restricted by 10 shackles. It was a well-known fact that the sacred body became useless. The news that Jun Xiaoyao had broken 10 shackles didn't spread. Until now, people had mistakenly thought that Jun Xiaoyao had only broken a few shackles. However, strictly speaking, Jun Xiaoyao was able to break 10 shackles because of the check-in system. That ancient sacred body of the ancients had broken 7 shackles by himself, which could be said to be very powerful. However, such a powerful existence was killed by the tyrant body of the firmament of that era. Could there be something fishy about this? Have you heard of the sacred palace of the ancients? Jun Xiaoyao asked. Tuoba Zhan said, that is the ancestral land of the sacred body of the ancients. It is on the desolate star. Jun Xiaoyao got up and cupped his hands in greeting. Thank you for inviting me to this banquet, senior. I still have some matters to attend to, so I won't disturb you any further. As Jun Xiaoyao spoke, he picked up the tiny jade hair that was still focused on eating the radish. Hee, son of God, go ahead. If there's anything, I'll take note. Tuoba Zhan laughed. He already regarded himself as half a member of the Jun family. If he could get closer to Jun Xiaoyao this time, it wouldn't be impossible for him to join the Jun family for real. Thank you. Jun Xiaoyao nodded and left. He left the ancient city, crossed the starry sky, and gazed towards the desolate star. There must be some secrets hidden in this. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were deep. Desolate star, just like its name, was very desolate and bleak. A long time ago, this ancient life star wasn't like that. But now it was barren. The mountain range was barren and devoid of any greenery. The spirit chi of heaven and earth was thin, and the earth was barren and gray. There were very few creatures on this ancient life star. There weren't even many kinds of beasts that didn't want to live there. There were some old and dilapidated cities scattered on the continent of the desolate star. Most of them were mortals, and a small number of cultivators hadn't even reached the sage-to-be level. They were very ordinary. On the ultimate ancient road, it was rare to see such a weak ancient life star. Jun Xiaoyao flew in the sky and scanned a large area with his immortal will. This place is too barren. The spirit chi is thin, and the Dharma laws are broken. It's hard to cultivate here. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head. Then, his immortal will suddenly sense something, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Yeah, that energy. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes locked on an old city in the distance, and he flashed towards it. At this moment, on a street in the old city, a girl about 7 or 8 years old walked out of a shop. Her black hair was combed into 2 pigtails, and her small face was delicate. Her big eyes were black and white, and they were full of spirit chi. Her eyelashes were long and curly. She was a cute little girl like a porcelain doll, but she was wearing a patched gray dress, and her small feet were bare. She didn't wear any shoes and looked a little dirty. Judging from her appearance, the little girl's living conditions weren't good. But there was a satisfied smile on her small face, and she was holding a spirit feather chicken in her small hand. Grandpa's health is poor. I'll make some chicken soup for him and give some to Uncle. There's also a drumstick for Brother. The little girl murmured and started to distribute the spirit feather chicken, but she didn't leave any for herself. Then, a few children in brocade clothes appeared in front of her, and their eyes were shining. The leader of the children looked at the little girl and sneered. Hey, you can afford spirit feather chicken. Seems like you've been living well recently. Bad people. Seeing the children, the little girl's eyes were filled with fear. She turned around and was about to run away. You still want to run? The group of children rushed up, and the leader grabbed the spirit feather chicken. This is for Grandpa and the others. The little girl suddenly shouted and pushed out with one hand. She actually overturned the child who was leading the group. He's rebelling. Beat him up. The leader of the children was furious. Being pushed away by someone they thought was a loser made him lose face. The group of children surrounded the little girl and bullied her. At this moment, on the other side of the street, a little boy who was about 10 years old and carrying rice and noodles saw this scene. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets, and he rushed up. Little Xian Xian. This child was like a little tiger. He took a few steps forward and punched out, sending a child flying and his teeth falling out. Little Xin Xin, are you okay? The little boy looked at his sister. The little girl, called Little Xin Xin, bit her lips and looked at the spirit feather chicken that had been trampled to pieces on the ground. Sparkling and translucent tears flashed in her eyes. Brother Chun, the spirit feather chicken is gone. Little Xin Xin wanted to give it to Grandpa and Uncle to nourish their bodies. Little Xin Xin couldn't help but sob. Damn it, you bunch of bastards. The little boy called Ning Chun clenched his fists and rushed toward the group of children like an angry little tiger. You're just a bunch of losers. The leader of the group yelled as well. His footsteps flashed and spiritual chi burst out. Ning Chun, the little boy, was not afraid at all. He raised a small fist and punched out. In his clear black and white eyes, there was actually a wisp of golden light that flashed. He fought with a group of children alone. Although Ning Chun was brave and strong, his opponents were a group of people. Moreover, the children in the lead knew some cultivation methods. Not long after, Ning Chun was beaten up. The corner of his mouth was bleeding, and there was a wisp of golden light in the blood. A group of people surrounded them. Some of the people who didn't know what was going on could not help but say, "Whose children are these? Why are they bullying people like this?" Should be quiet. They're the children of the Tsang family. The siblings are from the great wilderness village. Some of the people who vaguely knew what was going on said in private. What? The great wilderness village is related to that forbidden area. Those who didn't know what was going on trembled. They thought of something and didn't dare to intervene. So, don't meddle in other people's business. The Tsang family's overbearing behavior is obvious to all. Although some of the people around them were watching, they didn't dare to step forward and stop the fight. Brother, little Xin Xin was crying. She gritted her teeth and wanted to rush forward. Don't come over, Ning Chun shouted. You bastard, get down. The leader of the children threw out a palm strike to suppress Ning Chun. Ning Chun's eyes were red. The blood in his heart was stimulated. He suddenly felt the blood in his body burning. He threw caution to the wind and punched the big boy in the face, causing half of his face to cave in. The leader covered his face and wailed bitterly. In the distance, a few men and women with extraordinary temperaments suddenly appeared. Among them, a beautiful middle-aged woman's expression changed when she saw them. They were her children. Damn it, you little bastard. The middle-aged woman revealed a resentful expression. She pointed out with her finger. Her cultivation was at the Tao divinity realm. A beam of light pierced toward Ning Chun. Brother! Little Xuan Xuan's face was pale as she shouted hoarsely. Ning Chun gritted his teeth and tried his best not to be afraid. Uncle told me that our bloodline is invincible since ancient times. I can't kneel. I'd rather die than admit defeat. The little guy clenched his fists tightly. Many people in the surroundings turned their faces away. They couldn't bear to see this scene. It was not that they didn't want to save them, but those people were also from the Conquer Star Tsang family, an extremely prosperous and overbearing family. Not to mention, in this era, there was an invincible overlord whose name shook the ancient road. He had the potential to become a great emperor. Who would dare to provoke such a powerful family? For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website. Chapter 688. The Conquer Star Tsang family was famous for being overbearing and unbridled. Not to mention that in a barren land like a desolate planet, even cultivators were rare. Although the surrounding people couldn't bear to see this happen, they didn't have the ability to stop it. The Tao God realm was already a top existence on a desolate planet. Even if there were Tao God realm experts at the same level, they wouldn't dare to provoke the Conquer Star Tsang family. Ning Chun was about to be pierced by the light beam. Little Xuan Xuan's tears kept falling, and she let out a cry like a cuckoo crying blood. The surrounding people couldn't help but look away. But in the next moment, they didn't hear the little boy's cry. Everyone turned their gazes over. Suddenly, they were stunned, their eyes filled with bewilderment. Under such circumstances, there was actually someone who dared to stand up and provoke the Tsang family. Ning Chun, the little guy, closed his eyes tightly and his body was trembling slightly. Although he pretended to be brave, he was only a 10-year-old boy, and it was impossible to say that he wasn't afraid of death. But the pain he expected didn't come. Ning Chun trembled as he opened his eyes and saw the white-clothed figure standing indifferently in front of him. Immortal light shrouded him, and mist billowed as if a celestial being had descended to the mortal world. That light beam didn't even get close to him, and it disappeared into nothingness. "Brother!" Little Xian Xian ran over and approached Ning Chun. Her jade-like face was covered in tears, and she looked like a tear-stained pear blossom. After realizing that her brother's life wasn't in danger, her big eyes fell on the white-robed figure. Little Xian Xian was stunned. She swore that she had never seen such a good-looking person in her life. "What are your names?" The figure said calmly, his voice as gentle as jade. "My name is Ning Chun, and this is my sister, Ning Xian," Ning Chun said. He didn't expect that someone would stand up for him. Ning Xian couldn't help but look over and carefully asked, "Little brother, are you an immortal?" The white-robed figure was naturally Jun Xiaoyao. He smiled and didn't say anything. The little girl was a little stunned. This little brother who looked like an immortal descending to the mortal world looked really good when he smiled. As for the surrounding crowd, they were also extremely astonished. Who is this young man? How dare he make a move? Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. However, since he was able to block an attack from the Tsang family, he should also be a cultivator, right? Most of these people were natives of the desolate planet. They had never been to the ancient ultimate road, so naturally, they didn't know Jun Xiaoyao's name. On the other side, the beautiful middle-aged woman's face sank as she said, "Who are you? How dare you meddle in the business of my Tsang clan?" Jun Xiaoyao didn't pay any attention to the middle-aged woman's questioning. It was like the clamor of an ant that he simply couldn't hear. He looked at the pair of siblings and asked, "Where are you from?" "We're from the Great Wilderness Village," Ning Chun said tentatively. Every time they mentioned that they were from the Great Desolation Village, the people around them would distance themselves from them, because the Great Wilderness Village was related to that forbidden area. The Tsang family had always been targeting them. However, to the siblings' surprise, the expression of the little brother in front of them did not change in the slightest, nor did he reveal any estrangement or fear. "Damn it, didn't you hear?" The beautiful middle-aged woman revealed a cold expression and blasted out her palm again. The other men and women also watched the scene in front of them with interest. How long had it been since their Tsang clan was offended by an outsider? This was the first time. "Noisy!" Jun Xiaoyao frowned slightly and flicked his sleeve. Boom! Incomparably vigorous ripples of dermic power spread out. The beautiful middle-aged woman's expression abruptly changed as she sensed the terrifying aura. Her face twisted violently. "Your strength!" Before the beautiful middle-aged woman could say anything, her body exploded into a cloud of blood mist. The dermic power ripples swept toward the men and women of the Tsang clan without slowing down. They were directly blasted into pieces without any room to escape. The blood mist drifted away. The air was filled with the smell of blood. The arrogant men and women of the Tsang clan had now turned into a cloud of blood mist that rose with the wind. The surrounding heaven and earth were dead silent. The older children of the Tsang clan were even more petrified. One by one, they collapsed to the ground, their faces pale. They were so scared that they peed their pants. The onlookers at the side also took a deep breath. The moment Jun Xiaoyao waved his sleeve, they seemed to have seen an immortal descend to the mortal world and destroy the mortal world with a wave of his hand. That kind of supreme feeling of being a master of fate, lives, and death was not something that ordinary people could have. This young man is a grand cultivator. He has an extraordinary background. It's too terrifying. Could he be the legendary invincible saint? The surrounding people could not help but exclaim. Ning Chun and Ning Xian, the pair of siblings, were also stunned. They had never imagined that the little brother who had saved them would have such terrifying strength. Jun Xiaoyao glanced at the children of the Tsang clan again. They were so scared that snot and tears were flowing out of their noses. At this moment, The handsome Jun Xiaoyao was no different from a demon in their eyes. Jun Xiaoyao withdrew his gaze. He was not going to argue with a few brats. Those who bullied you, wait for you to deal with them yourself. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Ning Chun and said. At this moment, Ning Chen's eyes were very bright. He said excitedly, Big brother, are you a cultivator? Can you teach me how to cultivate? Oh, why? Jun Xiaoyao asked. Ning Chun clenched his fists and said resolutely, I want to protect my sister, grandfather, and the entire Great Barren Village. Me too. I want to cultivate too. I want to become stronger. Little Xian also said firmly. The siblings had experienced hardships that ordinary children had never experienced. Life was difficult. However, they did not give up. Instead, they stubbornly survived like weeds on the side of the road. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed faintly. The reason why he came to this ancient city was because he sensed the aura of the sacred body of the ancients. Then, he saw the pair of siblings. However, what surprised Jun Xiaoyao was that the siblings did indeed have a strong sacred body of the ancients' bloodline in their bodies. However, many of the bloodlines seemed to have been integrated into their bodies after birth. Although they were born with some sacred body of the ancients' bloodline in their bodies, they were far from reaching the level of a true sacred body of the ancients. However, when he thought about it, the sacred body of the ancients was rare since ancient times. There were only a few people in each era. How could he just walk into this place and run into a pair of siblings with sacred body of the ancients? The sacred body of the ancients was too worthless. Could they be descendants of the sacred body of the ancients with some sacred body of the ancients' bloodline? However, the bloodline in their bodies is thicker. It was integrated into their bodies after birth. Jun Xiaoyao thought a lot. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao pondering, Ning Chun gritted his teeth. He really wanted to be able to cultivate, but he did not want to put Jun Xiaoyao in a difficult position. Big brother, we're just saying. If you have concerns, it's okay. Little Xian was very understanding. No, can you take me to your village to have a look? Jun Xiaoyao smiled and said. Ning Chun and little Xian's eyes lit up. They did not expect that someone would take the initiative to go to their village. Naturally, they were more than happy to do so. Jun Xiaoyao took another look at the spiritual feather chicken that had been trampled on the ground and said, Let's buy another chicken. When little Xian heard that, she was a little embarrassed and said, But we don't have any money. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and took out a celestial source. Everyone around was stunned. A few cultivators even widened their eyes in disbelief. Am I seeing things? Is that a celestial source? Chapter 689. The desolate planet was extremely barren and lacked spirit chi. In such a place, it was naturally difficult to find any source stone veins. On the desolate planet, a divine source was enough to make a group of cultivators fight over it, not to mention the immortal source. Little Xian did not know the value of the immortal source. She hesitated for a moment, but still carefully accepted it. She smiled sweetly at Jun Xiaoyao and said, Thank you, little brother. In the end, she used the immortal source to exchange for it, and the shopkeeper was so scared that he wet his pants. Did he dare to accept it? He did not dare to. Anyone with a discerning eye knew that Jun Xiaoyao was definitely a ruthless person with an extraordinary background. He might be a top cultivator from outside the desolate planet. In the end, the shopkeeper gave little Xian 2 spirit feather chickens for free, which made her smile and a little embarrassed. Let's go. Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand and took the siblings with him, flying into the air. In the ancient city, a group of dumbfounded people was left behind. Oh my God, who the hell is this? He even dares to go to the great wilderness village. Is he really not afraid of the Tsang family? Who knows? The Tsang family's Tao Divinity Realm elite could not even withstand a flick of the young man's sleeve. He should be at least a sage to be, right? I have a feeling that the desolate planet and the Conqueror planet will not be peaceful. The Tsang family will not give up after a few of their people died. Many people vaguely felt that a storm was coming. They were also very curious. How could a young man dare to provoke the entire Tsang family? Jun Xiaoyao brought the siblings with him as he took to the air. Brother, we are flying. Little Xian was extremely excited, and her little face was as red as an apple. Ning Chen's eyes were also filled with excitement. His dream since he was young was to be able to fly and travel in all directions like those cultivators. However, he heard from his grandfather that their lineage was restricted by heaven and earth, making it difficult for them to cultivate. However, the little guy still had the dream of becoming an elite in his heart. Little brother, do you have anything to do with the great wilderness village? Little Xian blinked her big eyes and looked at Jun Xiaoyao. Why do you ask this? Jun Xiaoyao said, I keep having the feeling that little brother has a kind of closeness, just like big uncle, little Xian said. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes sparkled when he heard that. That sense of closeness was probably due to his sacred body of the ancients. Could the uncle that the little girl was talking about also have the sacred body of the ancients? Although Jun Xiaoyao had some doubts, everything would be answered once they arrived at the great desolate village. Then, they continued to move forward. The Tying Jade Hare also got along well with the siblings. Here, I'll give you some pickled radishes that I've treasured for many years, the Tying Jade Hare said generously as he took out 2 pickled radishes. Big sister, are you really the Jade Rabbit on the moon? Little Xian blinked her beautiful eyes and asked curiously. That's the ancestor of my lineage. He used to grow radishes on the moon. The Tying Jade Hare patted her chest with her small hands and said seriously. With Jun Xiaoyao's speed, it only took them half a day to reach the great desolate village. Jun Xiaoyao looked around. An old and dilapidated village was located in the distance. The farmhouses were sparse and crisscrossed with crisscrossing paths. It looked a little desolate and dilapidated. Some children were playing at the entrance of the village. There were also some old people sitting in the courtyard. The scene was too ordinary, as if it was an inconspicuous corner of the mortal world. However, under the perception of Jun Xiaoyao's divine consciousness, he found that everyone in the village had more or less a trace of the bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients. Although it was not much, it was enough to prove that their ancestors had something to do with the sacred body of the ancients. In comparison, the bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients in Ning Chun and Ning Xian's bodies was obviously much thicker. A large part of it was integrated into their bodies after birth. Who is he? Jun Xiaoyao's arrival alarmed the villagers. A white-haired old man in a gray robe walked out of the village. Grandpa! Ning Chun and Ning Xian waved their little arms, their little faces filled with excitement. The old man's eyes were fixed on Jun Xiaoyao. There was a hint of wariness and fear in his old eyes. He's a cultivator. Some of the people in the village gathered around as well, and all of their eyes fell on Jun Xiaoyao. Some of the girls in their late teens blushed when they saw Jun Xiaoyao. You are? The old man asked hesitantly. Grandpa, this big brother saved us. Little Xian's voice was filled with excitement and admiration. Ning Chun, on the other hand, briefly told the old man what had happened. The old man heard and breathed a sigh of relief. At least he was sure that Jun Xiaoyao was not sent by the Song family. Thank you for saving us, young master. However, the great wilderness village can't offer you anything to repay your kindness, the old man said with cupped hands. It's okay. Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand. He only came here to clear up some doubts in his heart. Seeing this, the old man said, Young master, the Song family is not to be trifled with. You should leave before they find out. Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. If I leave, the Song family will vent their anger on you, right? The old man was silent. However, it seemed that the great wilderness village was often bullied by the Song family. Old man, I'm here to find an answer, Jun Xiaoyao said with a smile. Young master, you mean? The old man was puzzled. Jun Xiaoyao's body shook slightly. In an instant, a vast golden aura rushed into the sky. The aura seemed to have turned into a golden dragon that pierced the sky. At this moment, the entire desolate star seemed to tremble. In the depths of the desolate star, a loud roar came from a forbidden place. A hoarse whisper with a hint of bewilderment and surprise rang out. That aura, has the destined one come? Not only on the desolate star, but also in the Tsang family's residence on the neighboring Conqueror Star. Many people of the Tsang family also felt a sense of fear. Many powerful people looked at the desolate star with surprise and amazement in their eyes. That aura. Is something happening in the desolate temple? Impossible. The one in the desolate temple is just waiting for death. Is he here? The entire Tsang family was in an uproar. In the Tsang family's residence on High Mountain, a purple-haired man with a muscular figure suddenly stood up, his eyes shooting out cold lightning. He's finally here. Master doesn't need to do anything. I, Tsang Yuan, can suppress the sacred body of the ancients. The purple-haired man, named Tsang Yuan, roared like thunder, shaking the mountains and rivers for thousands of miles. Behind him, illusory figures such as a true dragon, a deity phoenix, a Kuan Peng, and a giant bell appeared. He was the most talented genius of the Tsang family and also one of the followers of the Overlord. The entire Conqueror Star and the Desolate Star were trembling because of Jun Xiaoyao in the great wilderness village. Feeling Jun Xiaoyao's aura, the old man's body suddenly trembled. Unprecedented excitement appeared on his face. His body was trembling, and he was so excited that tears ran down his face. This aura is the sacred body of the ancients, the master that my family serves. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /books/5975/. Chapter 690. The old man was so excited that he could not even speak clearly. Only his cloudy old eyes were filled with deep reverence, as if he had seen a god of faith. He bent his knees and was about to kneel before Jun Xiaoyao. The rest of the villagers of the great wilderness village were about to kneel as well. Jun Xiaoyao waved his sleeves gently. Everyone found that an invisible force was holding them up, preventing them from kneeling. This caused a hint of reverence to appear in everyone's eyes. This young sacred body must have extraordinary strength. Elder, you can explain it clearly. To be honest, I'm really confused, Jun Xiaoyao said with a chuckle. How could these people kneel to him without knowing what was going on? Ning Chun and little Xian Xian felt the aura of Jun Xiaoyao's sacred body of the ancients, and their faces were filled with surprise and reverence. He's the same as my uncle, little Xian Xian murmured. In her heart, her big uncle was the man who protected the great wilderness village, the man who stood at the pinnacle of the world. And this handsome young man in front of her had the same body as her uncle. This surprised and delighted little Xian Xian. Sir, I'm sorry for my rudeness, the old man said with his hands folded. Compared to before, his attitude was more respectful. Then, Jun Xiaoyao was respectfully invited into the great wilderness village by the villagers. The old man's name was Ning Defa. He looked at the dilapidated house with only 4 walls and looked a little embarrassed. My house is simple. I hope you don't mind, Ning Defa said respectfully. You don't have to do that. I just want to know the truth, Jun Xiaoyao replied. Sir, it's really the sacred body of the ancients, Ning Defa said with a trembling voice. He still seemed to be in disbelief and thought he was dreaming. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand and forced a drop of blood out of his palm. The blood was as red as agate and had traces of golden light, looking extremely noble. This drop of blood immediately made some of the villagers feel that their blood was about to boil. Although they only had a trace of the sacred body of the ancients' bloodline, they could clearly feel that their blood seemed to be resonating with it. Sure enough, Master has finally come to the desolate star. Ning Defa was thrilled. They did not know how long they had been waiting. They even thought that no new sacred body of the ancients would come to the desolate planet. What's going on here? Jun Xiaoyao asked. Ning Defa sighed and began to tell Jun Xiaoyao some of the things that had happened. The great desolate village was the descendant of the temple keeper. The so-called temple guardian lineage was guarding the desolate ancient sacred palace. The lineage of the guardians were followers of the sacred body of the ancients. Their ancestors had received the bloodline of the ancient sacred body of the ancients as a reward, so there was a thin bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients flowing in their bodies. It could be said that the lineage of the guardians were the most loyal guardians and followers of the sacred body of the ancients. The sacred body of the ancients was extremely rare, and there were only a handful of people in each era. However, the lineage of the palace guardians had a large number of people and were extremely powerful. The desolate ancient temple had once been extremely glorious. In its heyday, the desolate ancient temple once had 3 sacred bodies of the ancients at the same time. Its name spread far and wide and suppressed the mystic realm. Even the immortal forces were frightened and did not dare to compete with the desolate ancient temple. I didn't expect the desolate ancient temple to have such a past. Jun Xiaoyao was also very surprised and muttered to himself. He did not expect there to be such a prosperous sacred body of the ancients' force. Jun Xiaoyao recalled the sacred body of the fallen that he had obtained before. Now, it seemed that the sacred body of the fallen should also know about the desolate ancient temple. Or he thought that the desolate ancient temple was a place of pilgrimage for the sacred body of the ancients. There, the sacred body of the ancients would undergo an unprecedented transformation. But if the desolate ancient temple was so prosperous, why is it now unknown in the mystic realm? And even the desolate star has become like this? Jun Xiaoyao was puzzled. When Ning Defa heard this, he sighed deeply and said, "Sir, you are also a sacred body of the ancients. You should also know that the laws of heaven and earth have changed dramatically in recent times. The 10 shackles of heaven have restricted the sacred body of the ancients. Not only the sacred body of the ancients, but even the lineage of the palace guardians has been greatly restricted because of the bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients in our bodies. Of course, even so, the desolate ancient temple could not have declined directly. It was all because of the ancient overlord body of the ancients. When Ning Defa said this, a hint of hatred appeared in his old eyes. The overlord body of the heavens was the archenemy of the sacred body of the ancients. As loyal followers of the sacred body of the ancients, they naturally hated the overlord body of the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao's face became serious. He felt that he might be about to come into contact with some truths. "Sir, when you came to the desolate star, you must have heard that there was once an invincible sacred body of the ancients that was killed by the overlord body of the heavens in this star field." Ning Defa's voice was slightly choked. "That's right. Is there a hidden story behind this?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. "Of course. The sacred body of the ancients is an invincible lineage. Even if it was restricted by the shackles of heaven and earth, it would not have been killed by the overlord body of the heavens. That's because the sacred body of the ancients was once the palace lord of the desolate ancient temple. He was extremely powerful. In order to protect the mystic realm, he once fought against the 3 immortal kings of the foreign realm. He killed one of the immortal kings and severely injured the other 2. When Ning Defa said this, his eyes were full of respect and fanaticism. The rest of the villagers of the great wilderness village also looked reverent and pious. When Jun Xiaoyao heard this, a hint of surprise appeared on his face. The immortal kings of the foreign realm were the leaders of the immortal emperor clan. They were all great emperor-level powerhouses. The sacred body of the ancients was able to fight against 3 immortal kings at the same time, killing one and severely injuring the other 2. This battle record was simply invincible. Of course, although the sacred body of the ancients was powerful, he also paid a great price and returned from the foreign realm with serious injuries. The most hateful thing was that the overlord body of the heavens of that era was extremely sinister. He actually took the opportunity to provoke the sacred body and fight it out with him. The sacred body of the ancients could have refused the challenge, but that would have damaged the reputation of the sacred body. Coupled with his pride as a sacred body, he could not bear to back down. When Ning Defa said this, his voice was already choked with emotions. Strictly speaking, they were only followers of the sacred body of the ancients. However, the bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients already flowed in their bodies. To a certain extent, they could also be considered the descendants of the sacred body of the ancients. The sacred body of the ancients could be considered their ancestor. What happened next did not need Ning Defa to say anymore. The result was no doubt that it became a legend that was passed down now. The only thing that was erased was the part where the sacred body of the ancients fought against the three immortal kings of the foreign realm by himself. Now that the legend has become like this, it must be because of the Tsang family. Jun Xiaoyao suddenly sneered. The history books had always been written by the victors. Since the overlord body of the heavens won in the end, they naturally would not let the story of the sacred body killing the immortal kings of the foreign realm spread. That's right. The Tsang family is the descendant of the overlord body of the heavens. They have always been at odds with the lineage of the temple guards. They changed history and erased the achievements of the sacred body, so that all the glory was attributed to the overlord body of the heavens. Ning Defa clenched his fists and suppressed his anger. The glory of the sacred body of the ancients and the achievement of killing the immortal kings of the foreign realm was something that no one could talk about. However, the despicable overlord body of the heavens trampled on the name of the sacred body of the ancients and spread it through the ages. Some of the later overlord bodies of the heavens even took pride in it. Being despicable is the passport of the despicable, and being noble is the epitaph of the noble, Jun Xiaoyao said coldly with his hands behind his back. That was also why Jun Xiaoyao did not want to be a hero. Jun Xiaoyao's achievements and demerits did not need to be judged by the world. Just you wait, overlord body of the heavens. What you're going to face next is a sacred body of the ancients that does not care about martial ethics. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a sneer. He was not the sacred body of the ancients that killed the immortal kings, but ended up being called the loser in the end. Jun Xiaoyao was not that selfless. He only wanted to destroy the Tsang family and the overlord body of the heavens. Chapter 691. The atmosphere in the entire house was heavy. The surrounding villagers of the great barren village also looked solemn and sorrowful, with a sense of unwillingness and grievance. They were the descendants of the temple guardians, who followed the sacred body of the ancients. Their lineage had once shared supreme glory with the sacred body of the ancients. Now, they had come to such a sad end. Ning Chun clenched his fists tightly, with a stubborn and unwilling look on his face. Although he was young, he knew a lot. Ning Defa had told him about the glorious history of the sacred body of the ancients since he was young. He also had the bloodline of the sacred body of the ancients in his body. Therefore, he was very unwilling to accept it. Xiao Xuanxuan's eyes were also red, crying for the sacred body of the ancients and the temple guardians. "Sir, I'm sorry for letting you know about this heavy history," Ning Defa said apologetically. He felt that he might have put a lot of pressure on the young sacred body in front of him. After all, Jun Xiaoyao looked too young. He shouldn't have to bear the heavy past of the sacred body of the ancients. "Elder, you don't have to worry. This is the truth that I want to know," Jun Xiaoyao said with a faint smile. Even though the past was very heavy and not everyone could bear it, Zhang Xian was still able to bear it. However, it was nothing to Jun Xiaoyao. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. With Jun Xiaoyao's status and influence, it wasn't too difficult to uncover the buried truth. "By the way, Elder, you should know where the sacred palace of the ancients is, right?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. He had to go to the sacred palace of the ancients. Not to mention other things, even if it was for the sake of signing and rewards, he still had to go. "Can we go and see Uncle again?" Ning Chun and Xiao Xuanxuan's eyes lit up. Ning Defa nodded and said, "Of course, but you killed the people of the Tsang family. If the Tsang family comes looking for you." Ning Defa's eyes were filled with worry. The Conquer Star Tsang family was extremely prosperous and had always been at the top. Now that Jun Xiaoyao had provoked the Tsang family, they were worried. After all, they did not know Jun Xiaoyao's background. "Is the Tsang family very strong?" Jun Xiaoyao asked indifferently. "The Tsang clan has a legendary paragon overseeing it," said Ning Defa with a deep sigh. In the past, the bloodline of the palace guardians also had one. But now, the lineage of the temple guardians, which had once been incomparably glorious and numerous. Now, only a desolate and dilapidated great wilderness village remained. The population was less than 1,000, and there were no experts. Moreover, if it wasn't for the presence of that person from the Desolation Temple, Perhaps even the great wilderness village no longer existed. It doesn't matter. It's just the Song clan. If they dare to come, we'll destroy them, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. Although this was just a casual remark from Jun Xiaoyao. However, the domineering aura within caused Ning Defa and the other villagers to reveal astonished expressions. Could it be that this young, saintly being was not only powerful, but also had a background that did not fear the Song family? Ning Chun and little Xian Xian, these two little fellows, had looks of worship on their faces as their eyes sparkled. Old man, please lead the way, Jun Xiaoyao said. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's insistence, Ning Defa did not say anything else and nodded slightly. Grandpa, we want to go too, Ning Chun and little Xian Xian said. Ning Defa nodded. Next, Ning Defa led Ning Chun, little Xian Xian, Jun Xiaoyao, tying jade hair, and the others to the Desolation Temple. They watched Jun Xiaoyao and the others leave. The eyes of the villagers of the great wilderness village were filled with surprise and worry. They were surprised that a new saintly being had finally arrived at the Desolation Temple. They were worried that this saintly being of the ancients could change the current situation of the Desolation Temple and the lineage of the Temple Guardians. Could he deal with the Conquer Star Song family? On the way to the Desolation Temple, Ning Defa also told Jun Xiaoyao something. For example, the Song family had already listed the Desolation Temple as a forbidden area. It was also because of this that the outside world was estranged from the great wilderness village. The Lord of the Desolation Temple has already done too much for the great wilderness village. I hope you can help us if you have the ability. Ning Defa cupped his hands and begged. Elder, don't worry. As a saintly being of the same lineage, I will not sit by and do nothing, Jun Xiaoyao said. Although he wasn't a kind-hearted person, he didn't want to offend anyone. However, as a saintly being of the same lineage, Jun Xiaoyao would not ignore it. Not to mention, Jun Xiaoyao already had a plan in mind. He wanted to bring the Desolation Temple and the lineage of the Temple Guardians into the imperial court. There were less than 1,000 people of the Temple Guardians in the great wilderness village. However, they all had the potential to become strong. After all, having a trace of the saintly being of the ancients' bloodline could not be too weak. It was only because the environment of the Desolation Planet was not suitable for cultivation and the bloodline restrictions of the saintly being that they were so weak. After about half a day, a group of ancient buildings finally appeared in front of Jun Xiaoyao. The weathered city walls and the collapsed ancient palaces. The dilapidated statues seemed to be telling of the glory of the past. But now, everything no longer existed. There was not a single blade of grass growing here. It was extremely desolate, and there were dilapidated palaces everywhere. Success and failure were gone in a flash. The Desolation Temple that once shocked the immortal realm and made the immortal forces bow their heads. Now it was in decline and desolation. The north wind was blowing. Jun Xiaoyao stood there silently, with a complicated look in his eyes. Ning Defa, the old man beside him, also sighed silently. Every time he came here, he felt a sense of sadness in his heart. Ning Chun and little Xian Xian also remained silent. After a while, Jun Xiaoyao came back to his senses and said, Is there another saintly being of the ancients in the Desolation Temple? Ning Defa nodded slightly and said, Yes, that lord is in the main hall in the center. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. He also had doubts in his heart. If there was another saintly being of the ancients in the Desolation Temple, would that saintly being of the ancients be willing to accept the status quo? With this question in mind, Jun Xiaoyao walked to the main hall in the center of the buildings. Just as he reached the door of the hall, a deep voice that sounded like the grinding of sand suddenly sounded. Come in. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Hearing this voice, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. He pushed the door open and entered. The entire hall was extremely empty and simple. However, it was very clean and there was no dust. Obviously, Ning Defa, Ning Chun, little Xian Xian, and the others often came to clean. Jun Xiaoyao looked over and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. In the depths of the ancient hall, a somewhat stooped figure was sitting on the ground. What surprised Jun Xiaoyao was that there was a thick chain with runes that pierced through the figure's shoulder blade. His hands and feet were also shackled. What was even more surprising was that this figure was carrying a stone tablet on his back. There were 8 big words engraved on the stone tablet. Unique in the universe. Dominating the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes suddenly became sharp and emitted cold electricity. These 8 words revealed a boundless and domineering fighting spirit. It was obvious that this was left behind by a dominating being of the heavens. Chapter 692. It was a desolate and dilapidated temple. A middle-aged man with an unkempt beard sat there alone. His hands and feet were shackled, and the chains went through his shoulder blades. He was also carrying a heavy, ancient tablet on his back, which was engraved with the words of the Overlord body. This scene made people feel a little desolate, a little lonely, and a little sour in their hearts. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, Jun Xiaoyao would never have believed that the person in front of him was a sacred body of the ancients. However, the resonance caused by the bloodline made Jun Xiaoyao very sure. The person was a sacred body of the ancients. It was a middle-aged man with an ordinary appearance. He was wearing old gray clothes, with an unkempt beard, cloudy eyes, and messy black hair. He looked like a middle-aged man who was drinking at a wine market. No one would have thought that he was a sacred body of the ancients. Even if the sacred body of the ancients was in decline, it still gave people the feeling that it was powerful enough to suppress the stars. The sacred body of the ancients in front of him looked like a frustrated middle-aged man in the mortal world. "Uncle, we brought you delicious food. We'll roast the chicken later." Little Xian came forward with a clean spiritual feather chicken in her hand. The man smiled, and a touch of affection appeared in his eyes. He stroked little Xuan's little head with his big, rough hand. "Uncle, this little brother also has a sacred body of the ancients. He is very powerful and can help us." Ningchen also looked excited. "Sir, the new sacred body is finally here." Ning Defa saluted the middle-aged man with a respectful look in his eyes. Even if the middle-aged man looked so down and out, their words were still full of respect. The middle-aged man looked at Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao also looked at the middle-aged man. Jun Xiaoyao could feel that the middle-aged man's level was not low. He was at least a Saint Lord. The Saint Lord level was nothing compared to the Supreme level. However, the sacred body of the ancients was imprisoned by the world and was extremely difficult to cultivate. In recent times, even a Saint Lord level sacred body of the ancients was rare. A Saint Lord level sacred body of the ancients was already extremely powerful. The fallen sacred body that Jun Xiaoyao had previously obtained was only at the Saint Lord level. As for Jun Xiaoyao himself, he was an anomaly. He had signed in a saint physique that was born with the ability to break the shackles, so he couldn't be counted. The middle-aged man in front of him had the sacred body of the ancients at the sacred Lord level. However, Jun Xiaoyao could sense that the qi and blood in his body were deteriorating and his life force was drying up. He was extremely weak, as if he was about to reach the end of his life. The chains and the ancient steel were wearing down the man's qi and blood. "I have something to say to this little brother," the middle-aged man said in a hoarse voice. Ning Defa understood tacitly. He pulled little Xian and Ning Chen's hands and said, "Let's go and roast this chicken." "Oh, roast chicken." Little Xian giggled. Ning Chen also wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. The middle-aged man's murky eyes were filled with love as he watched the siblings leave. Jun Xiaoyao then said, "It seems that you take good care of this pair of brother and sister. You even gave them your remaining essence blood of the saintly body." The man was not surprised to hear what Jun Xiaoyao said, instead continuing to speak casually. He said casually, "I was thinking that even if I were to die one day, I would still leave a spar for the saintly body lineage. This pair of children were born with amazing bones. They have more saintly blood in their bodies than the other descendants of the temple guardians. They are sparks that can start a prairie fire in the future." The man's tone was calm. He did not have any resentment because of his situation. These few drops of essence blood of the saintly body also belong to you, right? Jun Xiaoyao took out the essence blood of the sacred body of the ancients that he had obtained from the auction. The man's expression was still calm as he nodded lightly. Why didn't you resist? Jun Xiaoyao asked this question. In his opinion, this saintly body was not the kind of person who would drag out an ignoble existence and was afraid of death. However, he was willing to endure the humiliation of being bound. I am the last temple master of the sacred palace of the ancients, and also the last saintly body. My talent is limited, and I have only broken 5 shackles. At most, I can cultivate to the sacred lord level and will not be able to advance any further. I have already let my ancestors down. I don't want to implicate the temple guardians who have sworn to follow the saintly body to death. I originally wanted to die in battle, but at a certain moment, I saw that pair of siblings. It was as if I saw the sparks of hope. I want to live. Even if I have to suffer humiliation, I want to protect that village and continue the sparks. The man looked up. His eyes were still bright. He was in the darkness, but his heart was in the light. He could die. However, before he died, he wanted to see that pair of siblings grow up and continue the glory of the saintly body. At this moment, even someone as indifferent as Jun Xiaoyao could not help but be slightly shaken. He finally understood why Xiao Xianxian said that her uncle was a great hero who protected them. May I know your name, senior? Jun Xiaoyao's tone carried a touch of respect. My name is Wu Hu, the man named Wu Hu said in a hoarse voice. He was just like his name. The word protect represented protection. It was because of his protection that the saintly body lineage still had a trace of sparks. Senior Wu Hu, since I am here, I will not allow this tragedy to happen. The Desolation Temple and the Temple Guardians will not decline. Jun Xiaoyao said in a firm tone. May I know your name, little brother? Wu Hu smiled slightly, breaking away from that desolate mood. I am Jun Xiaoyao, Jun Xiaoyao said. Jun Xiaoyao, surnamed Jun. Could it be? As if he had thought of something, a touch of surprise flashed through Wu Hu's turbid eyes. Could it be that, Jun? Wu Hu said in surprise. Yes, I am from the Desolation Temple, Jun Xiaoyao said. Wu Hu's body suddenly shook, and an unprecedented golden light burst out from his eyes. His silent blood seemed to have begun to boil. He looked at Jun Xiaoyao as if he was looking at a rare treasure. Wu Hu naturally knew about the Desolation Temple's Jun family. It was a terrifying family that had been passed down for countless eras in the immortal realm. Even the Desolation Temple at its peak did not dare to underestimate the Jun family. The Desolation Temple did not care about ordinary immortal forces at all. However, when facing the Jun family, even the Desolation Temple had to treat them with respect and not be casual. Wu Hu never expected that the current generation of the sacred body of the Desolation would come from the Jun family. With such a powerful background, it was possible that the Desolation Temple and the Temple Guardians could rise again. However, before Wu Hu could show any joy, Jun Xiaoyao released his aura again. That aura caused Wu Hu's expression to instantly freeze. His pupils abruptly shrank as he sensed something that he could not believe. How is this possible? I don't feel any suppression in your bloodline aura. Could it be? Even with Wu Hu's temperament, he could not help but tremble. Jun Xiaoyao said calmly, I am a complete sacred body of the Desolation with 10 shackles broken. Boom! Those words struck Wu Hu's mind like thunder, making his whole body tremble uncontrollably. Then, he suddenly looked up to the sky and laughed. His clothes were wet with tears. He was so excited that he could not suppress his emotions. What he saw in Jun Xiaoyao was the hope for the rise of the sacred body lineage. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website. Chapter 693. Good. After so many years, the sacred body lineage has finally produced an existence that defies the heavens and breaks the shackles of heaven and earth. Wu said good 3 times in a row, which showed how excited he was. It was no wonder that he, as the last sacred body, was alone and lonely. In order to protect the last spark of the sacred body lineage, he was willing to endure the shackles and humiliation. However, Even the most tenacious heart would be exhausted after countless years of wear and tear. Wu Hu's sacred body had lost a lot of blood essence. Coupled with the stone tablet and the chains, he didn't have much time left. However, Wu Hu felt extremely lucky to be able to see Jun Xiaoyao at the last moment of his life. If the siblings, Ning Chun and Ning Xian, were the sparks that he had to protect, Jun Xiaoyao was like a blazing sun that shone with boundless light. Only Wu Hu, who is also a sacred body, understood how terrifying a sacred body of the ancients with 10 shackles was. Even the master of the desolate ancient temple, who had fought against 3 immortal kings by himself, had only broken through 7 shackles. As a sacred body of the ancients with 10 shackles broken, Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation was not restricted at all, and the strength of his sacred body would not be suppressed. In addition, he was born in the Jun family of the desolation, and his background was impeccable. Such an existence with such an invincible talent and background. It was obvious that he would definitely become an invincible sacred body that would leave his name in history. That's great. I didn't expect that after the desolation era, the sacred body lineage would produce another complete sacred body. With you here, even if I die now, I will have no regrets. Wu Hu sighed. The biggest regret and guilt in his life was that he could not revive the Desolation Temple. But now he saw hope in Jun Xiaoyao. Senior, you don't have to say that. With me here, I will not let anything happen to you, Jun Xiaoyao said. To be honest, before Jun Xiaoyao came, he did have the idea of recruiting a sacred body of the ancients. It was something that would benefit him. Now, however, Jun Xiaoyao simply wanted to lend a hand when he saw Wu Hu. Even if Protector Wu didn't choose to join the monarch dynasty, he would still do the same. There were only a few sacred bodies of the ancients in every era. Although they had different names and were born in different clans, they were all different. However, the shared bloodline of the divine body could not be severed. By the way, the ancestors of the desolate ancient sacred hall left behind some things for the destined person of the sacred body lineage. Follow me. Guardian Wu seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. He followed Protector Wu into the inner hall. Although Wu Hu was shackled and his shoulder blades were pierced by the chains, he could still move around. He carried a stone tablet on his back, which was placed on his body using his special method. This thing is... Jun Xiaoyao frowned. It was set up by the tyrant body of my era. It contains special suppression symbols, Wu Hu said unconcernedly. Although he had suffered such humiliation, he was in a very good mood. Jun Xiaoyao sighed inwardly. In the inner hall, there was a statue covered in cracks. One could vaguely see that it was a handsome and heroic man. This is the ancestor of the sacred hall who dealt with the 3 immortal kings, Wu Hu muttered. Jun Xiaoyao also showed a trace of respect. Although he didn't agree with such selfless love, he still respected it. Just as Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the inner hall, in his mind, the system's mechanical voice sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have arrived at the desolate ancient sacred hall. Do you want to sign in? Sign in, Jun Xiaoyao said in his heart. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have obtained the 7-star reward, the quasi-emperor weapon, the great desolate halberd. As the system's voice fell, Jun Xiaoyao immediately felt it. A 7-foot-long halberd appeared in his spatial artifact. The entire halberd shape was domineering and ferocious. The halberd's blade was as bright as snow, as if it had broken through the air from the primordial era. A wild aura surged and spread, bringing with it a terrifying, desolate, and destructive power. It was as if the halberd could split open the endless primordial era. The quasi-emperor weapon, the great desolate halberd. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes lit up. He didn't expect to sign in another divine weapon. Although this great desolate halberd wasn't as good as the universal chi cauldron, it had the possibility of transforming into an immortal weapon in the future. But at the very least, it could transform into an emperor weapon. Jun Xiaoyao just happened to have no suitable weapon at the moment. Strictly speaking, the universal chi cauldron should be a Tao-proving weapon, not a killing weapon. The appearance of the great desolate halberd just happened to fill this gap. With Jun Xiaoyao's strength, he indeed didn't need to use a weapon to deal with ordinary people. But whether he used it or not was one thing, and whether he had it or not was another. For example, the 10 princes of Jinwu had gone through a lot of trouble to obtain a quasi-emperor weapon and was still refining it until now. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao had casually signed in and obtained a quasi-emperor weapon, and it even had the potential to transform into an emperor weapon. It was definitely much better than the quasi-emperor weapon that the 10 princes of Jinwu had obtained. What's wrong? Seeing Jun Xiaoyao in a daze, Guardian Wu asked. Nothing. Jun Xiaoyao came back to his senses. He had another major trump card. Next, Guardian Wu came to the statue and pushed it away. Rumble. Below the statue, a sealed mechanism appeared. There was a groove in the middle. Guardian Wu said, "Drip a drop of blood in it. If the destined person is really you, the secret place of the sacred palace will open." Jun Xiaoyao didn't hesitate and stepped forward to drip a drop of blood in it. In an instant, a golden light shone. The entire ground cracked open, and a tunnel appeared. It's true. Guardian Wu took a deep breath. Although he had already guessed it, he still heaved a sigh of relief after confirming it. This was because the desolate ancient sacred palace had always had a decree that when the destined person arrived, the sacred physique lineage would once again regain its glory. Jun Xiaoyao and Guardian Wu entered. There was a huge space below, and a powerful sacred physique fluctuation spread out. Jun Xiaoyao and Guardian Wu both sensed the fluctuation. Finally, they entered an underground space. Jun Xiaoyao looked around, and his eyes flashed. A blood pool was in the middle. It wasn't big, only about 6 feet in diameter. However, it contained the essence of the sacred physique of the desolate ancient. The pool of essence of the sacred physique was as red as agate, and it emitted an extremely powerful bloodline fluctuation. As the blood chi rose, it condensed into blood kirans, blood dragons, blood phoenixes, and other magical scenes. Even Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. This is the essence of the sacred physique left behind by the past sacred palace lords and the sacred physique. Guardian Wu's voice trembled slightly. Did those sacred palace lords already foresee the decline of the desolate ancient sacred palace? Was that why they left the essence of the sacred physique behind to keep the sacred physique lineage alive? Jun Xiaoyao also saw a herb growing beside the blood pool. Its leaves were like blood-red dragons, swallowing the essence of qi and blood. There were also visions of qi and blood turning into dragons around it. It's the immortal true dragon elixir, Jun Xiaoyao said. Even among the immortal elixirs, the immortal true dragon elixir was the best, and its effect was incredible. In addition, there was a dark golden armor that looked like the body of a fiend god, and it carried an emperor's aura. It's the imperial weapon of the desolate ancient sacred palace, the desolate god armor. Guardian Wu's eyes lit up. The imperial weapon of the desolate ancient sacred palace, the desolate god armor, had been lost in a certain era. At that time, Guardian Wu was still wondering how the imperial weapon of the desolate ancient sacred palace could be lost. Now, it seemed that the former sacred palace lord had foreseen that the desolate ancient sacred palace might be defeated. Therefore, he hid the imperial weapon in the sacred palace in advance, waiting for the destined one to come and let it see the light of day again. Otherwise, the declining desolate ancient sacred palace would never be able to keep this imperial weapon, and it would be taken away by other forces. In addition, Jun Xiaoyao also saw some old bookshelves with some books on them. He immediately flipped through some of them and was surprised to find that the books recorded some cultivation methods of the sacred body of the ancients. There were even experiences on how to awaken the sacred body vision. These must be the cultivation manuals left behind by the past sacred palace lords and the other sacred bodies. Guardian Wu was also amazed after flipping through them. He would never have thought that there were so many things hidden in the sacred palace's secret palace. Jun Xiaoyao also sighed. The past sacred palace lords and the other sacred bodies really put in a lot of effort for the rise of the sacred body lineage. The blood essence of the past sacred bodies, the immortal true dragon elixir, the imperial weapon, the desolate god armor, and the sacred body cultivation manuals. There is no doubt that these things were all prepared for the rise of the sacred body lineage. Moreover, all of them were given to the destined one, which was Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao, these are all yours. You are the only sacred body in the late ancient era to have broken 10 shackles. You are the hope of the sacred body lineage. Guardian Wu's tone was solemn as he saluted Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were also burning with fire. He could not imagine how much he would grow if he digested these opportunities. This was definitely one of the greatest opportunities that Jun Xiaoyao had received since he started walking the ancient road. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /book/5975/. Chapter 694. Previously, Jun Xiaoyao had a vague premonition that he would definitely gain a lot in the Desolation Temple. Therefore, he forcibly suppressed the progress of his breakthrough. Now it seemed that this was indeed the best choice. If Jun Xiaoyao had chosen a breakthrough before, then now, even if he digested these opportunities, the room for improvement would be very limited. It was equivalent to a waste. But now, Jun Xiaoyao could break through and cultivate without any scruples. Senior Wu-Hu, you can also use the opportunities here, Jun Xiaoyao said. He could feel that Wu-Hu's saint physique was extremely lacking in blood essence. It was likely that the Tsang family had taken a lot of blood essence from him before. It was like raising livestock for blood. This made Jun Xiaoyao's eyes incomparably cold, and his heart was extremely cold toward the Tsang family. No need, these all belong to you. You are a complete saint physique with 10 shackles broken. In the future, you are destined to become a true complete saint physique. Compared to that, what am I? Wu-Hu shook his head and declined Jun Xiaoyao's kindness. Looking at the stubbornness in Wu-Hu's eyes, Jun Xiaoyao also sighed and understood. If he didn't use these opportunities first, Wu-Hu would never touch them. However, Jun Xiaoyao seemed to have thought of something, and a light flashed in his eyes. He didn't know if his saint physique with 10 shackles broken could help Senior Wu-Hu. My cultivation is not high enough, and my saint physique's blood essence is not condensed enough. I will make plans after I cultivate and break through. Jun Xiaoyao already had an idea in his heart. Wu-Hu said, before you came to the Desolation Temple, you have already released your aura once. I am afraid that you will alarm the Tsang family. But don't worry, you just need to cultivate. With your Jun family's background, the Tsang family will also be a little afraid. I will definitely make the Tsang family pay the price. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent and murderous. Don't worry, I will protect you during this period of time. My only wish is for you to take good care of the clan of the Guardians, and take good care of that pair of brother and sister, said Guardian Wu. From his tone, it seemed that he was already determined to die. Jun Xiaoyao did not say anything. Once he was successful in his cultivation, he would naturally help Wu-Hu and the people of the great desolate village. After that, Protector Wu left to stand guard outside the palace. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, began to cultivate in the sanctum. He sat cross-legged in the middle of the blood pool. The entire pool of blood began to boil, and blood aura began to rise. There was a blood Kirin, a blood dragon, a blood phoenix, and many other creatures flying around Jun Xiaoyao. Vaguely, there were many ancient and blurry figures that were incomparably powerful. Jun Xiaoyao murmured to himself, these are the ancestors who have dripped their saintly body blood essence into the blood pool. He sensed an indestructible inheritance and faith. It was the supreme belief of the sacred body of the ancients. Even if the 10 shackles of the heavens came down to restrain him, the saintly physique branch was still unyielding and unyielding. The saintly physique branch does not believe in heaven or earth. They open the sky with their palms and crush the earth with their feet. In the universe, the ancients reign supreme. In the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the saintly physique is invincible. Jun Xiaoyao murmured to himself, and a vast wave of energy swept out. The rich, saintly body blood essence seemed to have turned into a blood dragon and directly surged into Jun Xiaoyao's body. While absorbing the saintly body blood essence, Jun Xiaoyao also took out some of the predecessors' letters to read. Different constitutions had different trump cards and cultivation methods. For example, the hegemonic body of the heavens had 9 divine forms. When cultivated, it could be said to be invincible. The sacred body of the ancients had 6 saintly physique visions. When used at the same time, it could form 6 reincarnations and defeat all enemies. Before, Jun Xiaoyao was just crossing the river by feeling the stones. He had the pilgrimage of 10,000 saints and the celestial king descending to the 9 heavens. Now, with these predecessors' letters, Jun Xiaoyao believed that with his talent, it would not be difficult for him to comprehend new saintly physique visions. I wonder what level my powers will reach after this round of training. Jun Xiaoyao was very curious about it himself. Up until now, there was no one who could threaten him on the ancient road of the ultimate path. There were only a few who were qualified to be his opponents. Up until now, only the supreme outlawed sky prides in the depths of the ancient road of the ultimate path could barely catch his attention. However, after this cultivation, Jun Xiaoyao had a hunch. Even those supreme outlawed sky prides would become insignificant in his eyes. Descendants of immortal orthodoxies, mysterious outlawed sky prides of the human immortal sect, 9 transformations celestial silkworm, saints of the sacred sect, immortal bandit. All of these people were only worthy of looking at his back. Next, Jun Xiaoyao immersed himself in cultivation. As for Wu Hu, he made a decision. He asked Elder Ning Defa to move the people of the great wilderness village to the shrine of the ancients. This was because he was afraid that if the Tsang family arrived, they would use the great wilderness village as a hostage. "Uncle, where's little brother? Is a roast chicken ready?" Little Xian Xian opened her eyes wide and asked innocently. "Xianer, don't ask," Elder Ning Defa interrupted. His old face was solemn as he vaguely sensed something. Perhaps there would be a huge turning point in the future. However, Elder Ning Defa was not afraid of the unknown. This was because he was tired of the humiliation and tolerance. Jun Xiaoyao's arrival might really change everything. The atmosphere of the entire desolate star seemed to have changed. On the other hand, the Conquer Star Tsang family was making a move. After all, the aura that Jun Xiaoyao released earlier had alerted many powerful beings in the Tsang family. At this moment, in the Tsang family, a powerful figure with a supreme aura murmured coldly, "The shrine of the ancients, the declining sacred physique clan, what can you do now? Previously, I spared your lives to let the Tsang family's descendants know how lowly the sacred physique clan is. But now it doesn't matter." As soon as the words left his mouth, the Tsang family paragon stretched out his hand. The void was torn apart. A huge hand of laws filled with the might of a supreme broke through the layers of space and pressed down on the desolate star. This palm might not be able to destroy the entire desolate star. At the very least, it could bury the great wilderness village and the shrine of the ancients together. At this moment, in the depths of the universe, another huge hand covered in runes of laws appeared and blocked the hand of the Tsang family paragon. Enforcers? The Tsang family paragon frowned and looked through the layers of the void. He saw that the person who had intervened was the executor of the ancient road, Tuoba Zhan. Paragons are not allowed to interfere in the battle of the ancient road. Tuoba Zhan's divine will spread out. The Tsang family paragon's face darkened slightly. He did not expect the executor of the ancient road to interfere. For a moment, the commotion in the Tsang family calmed down. However, it was obvious that this peace would not last for long. Above the ancient city, deep in the void, clad in golden armor, Tuoba Zhan stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking at the desolate star with a hint of admiration in his eyes. As expected of the Son of God, he actually gained the approval of the sacred physique. I'm also curious to see how far the Son of God will go. For a better reading experience, please visit the mobile version of the website, /book/5975/.